then I was checking between innings.
Right.
So then I'm getting ready, and I had originally I had a pretty full schedule this morning. Some things changed on me, but I thought, man, I can't. I looked and it was the 11th inning. I'm like, I can't do it. There's no way, because once I start, I'm not going to be able to stop. And then I get up this morning and I had a couple of text messages about the game. I'm like, are you kidding me? 18 innings?
Yeah.
Now,
great.
Ironically, it was on the anniversary of Game 6, 14 years ago. Yesterday
That's right.
was the anniversary, so they're already calling this like one of the best World Series games ever. I mean, you tell me, were there between the 11th and the 17th inning, were there a lot of threats? Were there base runners, or was it just a pitcher's duel?
No. It wasn't that. There were a lot of balls that were hit toward the warning track.
Yeah.
The batters thought they were out. There were just odd plays. Tommy Edman made some great plays. It was pretty, just very thrill-induced.
And I love this guy, Freddie Freeman, although he's just killed the Cardinals over the years. He's killed a lot of people. He certainly killed the Jays last night.
Freeman sends a fly ball to center field. Varsho's going back before the clock strikes midnight. Freddie Freeman has ended it.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, the clock strikes midnight in Los Angeles, right? Because
Right.
that game, it had to start last night at what, like 5:15?
Yeah, it started at 5:10.
And it was, what, 6 hours and 39 minutes or something
it's
ridiculous?
Right before midnight.
So there's a bunch of different things about this game last night that are kind of fascinating that I want to cover. So did you, first of all, I'll cover the guy who did the Canadian national anthem. Did you pull that one in there?
Yeah, it
Ethan?
should be in there.
What's that one listed as?
Anthem, JP Sachs.
There it is. Okay, so JP Sachs. I actually know who JP Sachs is. I didn't know he was Canadian. He did a song with BB Rexa years ago that my daughter and I listened to about 100 million times. But when I was in my living room and I was like making dinner, I think last night, I heard the anthem. I'm
Right.
like, it didn't sound like a great version of the anthem. And I'm like, who is this dude? I really didn't know who it was.
It sounded weak and a little off tune.
I think he might have been a little nervous, but then listen what he does here. It's very subtle. I don't know if you picked up on this, Fred, but here is a little bit of the part of "O Canada" last night, because he's, singing "O Canada."
First to sing the Canadian national anthem, please welcome multi-platinum, Grammy-nominated Canadian singer-songwriter, JP Sachs.
All right, so he gets the welcome. Here it is.
Our home, our native land.
You see what he did there?
He changed the
He
lyrics.
changed it to "Our home on native land." So he went woke last night, and he's being called out for that, which I think is interesting. And then you have our national anthem being sung by Brad Paisley, playing a little guitar. I love that guy so much. I love his guitar playing. Very influenced by Glenn Campbell. He rocked it out here.
Oh, say, can you see?
But here's the weird thing about Brad Paisley. Brad Paisley has officially sung the national anthem for World Game Series 2 in 2017, 11 innings, World Series Game 3 in 2018, 18 innings, and then last night, 18 innings. How weird is that, right?
That's great.
Well, he kind of saved JP Sachs. And then this is another one of my favorite moments. So after the game, did you hear what Mookie Betts had to say? So Mookie Betts is asked,
when you go to bed tonight, put your head on the pillow tonight, what will you think about Shohei? Will you think about Freddie? What jumps out at you?
I'm probably not going to think about another man while I'm in bed.
Could you hear that already? I try not to think of another man while I'm in bed. That was amazing. So now you got the Dodgers up 2-1, but this is a close series. And, I'd like to see the Blue Jays get into it again. How about Scherzer last night, man? He was a beast, even though he doesn't get the win. I mean, the guy who got the win was someone who is not necessarily always reliable for the Dodgers, right?
But wow.
This game was absolutely unbelievable. I also stayed up for the very end of it. There were moments throughout. It's funny. I think it was 5-5 heading into the 8th inning,
Right.
and a run was not scored from the 8th to the 17th
Like
inning.
11 innings
A
in a
full
row.
9 innings of shutout baseball. These two bullpens have been horrific this postseason. They have been the weak spots of both of these
Opposite
teams.
of the starters.
And they just
happened
happened to and they just happened to put together, each of them, 9 innings of shutout baseball. Shohei Ohtani continues to, if you are not a baseball person, tune in just to watch Shohei Ohtani,
one of the
because
greatest athletes of all time.
what we are
Yeah.
witnessing, you will not see again for another 100 years.
Right. This is Michael Jordan type
It is
legend character.
unbelievable.
But talk about him last night. So he ends up on base 9 times.
9
right?
times. So his first 4 times up, 2 home runs, 2 doubles. And then John Schneider of the Toronto Blue Jays says, I'm
Enough
not
is
putting
enough.
up with this crap
Right,
anymore.
right.
He intentionally walked him 4 times, and then he walked him on 4 pitches another time. A World Series record. And he basically said, whether it was last night after the game or this morning, that that's going to be the plan going forward with him, is that they are going to barely pitch to him.
Why wouldn't it be? I mean, I don't understand why you would pitch him. I think that's definitely, I mean, he's just killing him. So who's the pitching matchup for tonight?
Tonight, it's going to be a good
Shohei.
one. It's Shohei against Shane Bieber. So it's going to be a really good game tonight. This is a big one, because if the Dodgers win this game, then they are clearly in the driver's seat. I mean, there were bang plays last night, outs made at the plate. How many times, Fred, did you think that the game was over just based off of the crowd's reaction and the players thinking that they had hit a home run out? I mean, at least 4 or 5 in extra innings, you're thinking this game's over. And not to mention, and this is important as well, because this was a great game for so many reasons, but you may have forgotten, last year, it was just a year ago, in Game 1 of the World Series, that Freddie Freeman hit a walk-off grand slam against the New York Yankees. So back-to-back World Series where Freddie Freeman has hit a walk-off home run, tied for the longest World Series game by innings of all time.
That's pretty incredible.
I liked watching to just see how long Mary Hart would stay behind home
And she was
plate.
there the whole time, wasn't he?
Well, I
Wasn't
didn't
she?
see
Oh,
her in
really?
the final
At the
inning.
end?
She
Wow.
made it up through 17 innings.
There were so many stars
In
there
the
last night.
18th, I didn't see her.
Was Mary? See, do you have to separate Mary Hart from Mary Hart's face, because those might be 2 different things if you think about it. But that good for you, Fred, for staying up. There was no way I was going to make it up that late for that game. If it was the Cardinals game, I think I would have thought differently.
So, and real quick, I'll throw this out there too, because the game local time is ending for us just before 2 a.m. The writers, what they will do is they will then go down to the clubhouse after the game. They'll get their audio, and then they start writing their articles. That's when they start writing the articles. Katie Wu, Cardinals reporter, writer for The Athletic, is covering the World Series for The Athletic, so she's out there. And I texted her earlier asking her, I got to know, when did you get to leave
when
the
did
ballpark?
you wrap your day?
She left the ballpark to go home at 3 a.m. Pacific time. That would be 5 a.m. Central time.
Yeah.
So I do not envy her for that part, but everything else I do envy her for. I mean, what a game
it was
to be a
so
part of.
long. They were bringing fruit snacks to the ball players in the dugout. a tray of
Really?
like watermelon and pineapple. And the announcers mentioned it, and then they brought some of it up to the booth.
Wow.
To the announcers.
One of the players, I think Katie actually just wrote this article and put it out asking, how do you stay sharp in a game like that? And she quote tweeted it and said, and one of the players said that during the game they ate a steak.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I believe that was Katie that put that out, but I did
That's
see
funny.
that somewhere on Twitter. So
Well-
you got to stay sharp in a game like that.
And then, Ethan, the Chiefs looked pretty good last night. I mean, obviously the Commanders were up against it, but look, they started that game looking like the Chiefs might be in trouble, and you had Marcus Mariota running the offense pretty good, and then they made mistakes. The Chiefs made a couple of mistakes. They got Kelsey into the game last night, though, the really, really effective, and
Huge.
Rashee Rice as well.
Huge. So important to finally Travis Kelce's finally starting to get going, and that adds so much to the Chiefs' attack. Rashee Rice, I mean, the return of him has been so impactful, and just like that, a couple of weeks ago, we were, what is going on with Kansas City? Is the dynasty over? And now they look to be a Super Bowl favorite.
They do, and a lot can happen. This is we're halfway. I can't really believe we're halfway
8.
through the season, but still, there's a lot of football to be played.
And next
Like,
week they got the Bills.
Sue's not here to ask about fantasy. I know she would if she was here. But in one of my leagues, I'm not going to recover. But in the other league, which I really thought I would win this week, I still think that it's weird. I don't know about your league and maybe guys out there who play fantasy or ladies. There's one person in our league that's 7-1. There's one person who's 0-8. Chuck, if you're listening, God bless you. He changes the name of his team every week because it's the only entertainment he gets because he's losing every week. But everyone else is very close to 500, like 3-5, or it's close. So I think that in fantasy, maybe I'm kind of fooling myself here. My point is that with 8 more games left, or however many might be before the playoffs, there's a lot of consequences for fantasy that are yet to be determined, especially with all the injuries out there. Does that make sense?
There's been a bunch of injuries this year, which is a shame for the league because a lot of really big-name players have gone down. Listen, my team is climbing the ranks. I was 1-4 just a few weeks ago. I just beat the number 1 seed in my league. I'm back to 500. We're moving in the right direction. So the Team Haney franchise, I'm feeling good about where we are right now, Mark.
So in one league, I'm in second to last. I'm 3-5. But there's a bunch of people at 4-4, and then 3 more at 5-3. So if you go on a roll, it's not impossible. I know Fred's really intrigued by this as well because he's so into fantasy football. Nobody really cares. Sue would be mocking me. All right. I have some really fun stuff that I want to do today, audio-wise. There was something that happened with a guy on News Nation last night, Fred. I haven't played this to you.
No.
But it was really fun. I don't know. Did you know this guy, Ethan, when I had you pull the audio?
I did not.
His name is Mike Finnery. Let's see here. Megyn Kelly, I noticed this because Rob Finnerty. I got his name completely wrong. Sorry, Rob. But he did this bit on, how we all, not maybe all of us, but how people will, AOC does this all the time, and a lot of the liberals, when they say the word Latinx, they have to say Latinx, right? Or whatever it is. And Rob's point was, wait a second, I'm Irish. You're not introducing me like Rob of Finnery. But it reminded me, when you hear the audio, and I might get to it a little bit later, there's an SNL bit that features Bob Costas from, this is back in the Phil Hartman days, and it is hilarious when you match it up with what this guy did on News Nation last night. We have our friend Charles Lipson coming up here in a couple of minutes. And, Fred, I just sent this to you, too. There was an independent journalist. We played, I think, some of the bites. Brandon Johnson got grilled by this guy, basically saying, hey, if your wife or your daughter was attacked by a migrant, Brandon Johnson doesn't like the word illegal, right? He doesn't like that illegal.
No.
So this reporter asked him, how would you feel? Well, they just basically blew off the question, but it might be interesting to get that guy on the air just to, talk about his interactions. But Charles, of course, professor emeritus at the University of Chicago. Beth Brelje will be with us in a little bit as well. I'm still amazed by the reaction on the left to the East Wing and all the whining and crying about that. We have, and I'm a little disappointed that Sue's not here for a variety of reasons, but George Gray is going to be with us today, who is the voice on The Price is Right. He's the come-on down guy. He works with Drew Carey every day. He is a St. Louis guy, but he's in town. He's going to play a little game we like to call The Price is Wrong. Fred, I think we all need to take a deep breath and have a little fun, and that's what that hour is about. So, Ethan, you're going to do Sue's News this afternoon, and then George will be here, and he brings the heat. There's no doubt about it. One of the big political stories locally today, and this is like the worst-kept secret in politics, is that Steve Ehlmann has decided to run as St. Charles County executive again. He is back in the race. He had pulled out. He doesn't like the fact that Bill Eigel might be, one of the favorites if he doesn't run. So Steve's going to run again. He's going to be with us in studio, Fred.
Yeah, 5 o'clock.
He'll explain that a little bit later in the 5 o'clock hour and a bunch of other stuff. Plus, audio cut of the day.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
All right, 270 on your northbound side. It's slow going from Manchester up to before 64 with a crash on the right shoulder. Southbound side slow from Page to Gravois. Your 70 westbound tightens up from 170 to the airport. 170 southbound heavy now Olive Town to just before 64 with a crash working. Northbound side slows 64 up to Olive. 64 westbound slow from Clayton to 270 with a crash. 364 to 70 slow then beyond that. And 44 westbound slow Lindbergh pretty heavy over to the 270 southbound ramp. And 55 southbound slow Broadway to Bates. This report is sponsored by Barron Mirror Glass and Door. Barron Mirror Glass and Door, simply the finest when it comes to mirror, glass, and shower doors. You can't find better quality, prices, or service than at Barron Mirror Glass and Door. They have the basics all the way up to the elite. Barron Mirror Glass and Door can't be beat. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Halloween is just around the corner, but don't ghost your carpet this fall. Let Zero Res bring out the very best. Mark Cox here for my friends at Zero Res. They've got a great special for October. 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at $129. That's a $40 savings. Plus, you can get 15% off air duct and dryer vent cleaning. That's impressive. If there's anything scarier than ghosts or goblins, it's probably hiding in your air ducts. Right now, this month, you can get 15% off. Get that cleaned up, and don't miss a deal like this. It could haunt you if you'll excuse me for that one. Zero Res has a 4.9 rating on Google, over 5,900 reviews. So schedule your appointment with ZeroResSTL.com or call 314-474-2020. Tell them you want the 97.1 FM Talk special. It's Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward, it spells the same.
Reardon's back. Smarter talk for the Show Me State. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis conservative.
Yeah, I mentioned the esteemed mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson.
We don't have illegal aliens. I don't know if that's from some sort of sci-fi message that you wish have had. Well, listen, the legal term for my people were slaves. You want me to use that term too? So look, let's just get the language right. We're talking about undocumented individuals that are human beings. The last thing that I'm going to do is accept the type of racist, nasty language to describe human beings.
Oh, it's so nasty to say illegal alien or illegal migrant. Charles Lipson here, professor emeritus from the University of Chicago. It's horrifying language. I'm actually surprised that we can air that here, and the FCC allows us with all that racist, bigoted language. Charles, how are you this afternoon?
Well, I got to say, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson is numbered in a bag of hammers.
He really is. I mean, and what's interesting about that guy is, and maybe this is true of Mamdani and some of these other, new wave Democrats, is he doubles down, right? He does not shy away from it. And, I mentioned to Fred, there's this guy, I don't know if you saw The Exchange. He's an independent journalist who kind of went back and forth with Johnson last week on some of this stuff. And, he basically, I want to try to get this reporter on because he doubles down on everything that he says. And he doesn't really, when he's asked the question about people who are actual residents of Chicago not getting, the taxpayer benefits that maybe they're owed because, I don't know, they're legally here in this country, he just brushes that off as there's no difference between whether you're here legally or illegally. And that's where a lot of Democrats are.
It's all true. People here call him Mayor 6.6 because in one opinion poll, that was his favorability rating. Believe it or not. And I think I think they don't give percentage points anymore. They actually name the people who still favor him. But he really comes straight out of the Chicago Teachers Union, which is as corrupt and self-interested as any organization this side of Cosa Nostra. And that organization actually has an impact in the St. Louis area because the woman who heads it has now been elected head of the teachers union for the entire state of Illinois, which of course includes the area just across the river from St. Louis.
Right.
But Brandon Johnson is really a creature of that organization. The city has some very vibrant areas. There are areas that are really growing and interesting and filled with restaurants and all the things that you expect, like St. Louis has and like every city has. But there are whole major parts of the city that are in complete meltdown with boarded up storefronts and all the rest. And then there is what I would call the Pete Hegseth effect. Soldiers didn't want to sign up for the U.S. military under the Biden administration. Pete Hegseth is not nobody considers him a great administrator or strategic thinker, but people have signed up for the U.S. military because he represents a kind of enthusiasm for them and a backing for them. That's why a lot of cities have trouble signing up police. They don't think that the political leaders will back them, and that's certainly the case in Chicago, and it's the case in most of the deep blue cities across the country.
So I'm going to spend a little bit more time on this at the bottom of the hour, but one of the topics that I've been covering, obviously, is the, hyperventilation on the part of the left to the renovations of the East Wing of the White House, which really continue to be comical to me. And they're even more comical to me in the aftermath of the weekend in which both the New York Times and the Washington Post apparently agreed with me on the fact, and a lot of us, that maybe these are long overdue renovations that need to be taking place. And gosh, isn't it nice that taxpayer dollars aren't going to fund this? But the reaction, Charles, and I don't know how much you've, been exposed to some of the social media, the TDS folks out there losing their mind over this. It was like somebody drowned a bag of puppies.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. Yeah, that was what interested me, Mark, about all this. It ought to be clear to any fair-minded person that when you hold a larger event, you can't hold them in the White House. You have to put up a temporary tent.
A tent.
There are literally porta potties. You might have a dinner for a major head of state or something like that, and people are using porta potties. And so the idea that you would put up a large room makes sense. Now, I'm not one who wants all the gold leaf and everything, but that's just my personal taste, and it can be redecorated by the next president. And 50 years we'll have another Democrat. But what seems to have gotten people is that a wing of offices was torn down in order as part of this larger construction.
Right.
Now, let me say two or three things about that. The first thing is that Harry Truman gutted the entire interior of the White House because it needed it. They rebuilt the entire interior. Almost every president has done some construction. Jackie Kennedy did a lot of it, redecorated all the major rooms and so forth. The rooms that were torn down were in dilapidated condition and were put up only by Franklin Roosevelt. They're relatively recent, and so what interested me was why all the hand wringing about it. And here's my answer, which certainly begins to build on Trump derangement syndrome, and we hate everything he does, and if he says the sun rises in the east, we'll say it rises in the west. But I think there's one more thing, and I think it's that the people who are just livid over this, and I know some people who are just heartbroken over it. They wrote me, actually. They're people I know. And I think it's because they think tearing down part of the White House is their image of what Trump is doing to the country and
they're
the
trying
Constitution.
to. Yes, they're trying to extend that.
I think that was missing from the public discussion. That's what I tried to add.
Well,
that they think this is a kind of metaphor for everything they hate, not just about Trump, but about what Trump is doing to their country. And and to see some of these people who haven't expressed a patriotic sentiment in 3 decades talking about how beloved the White House is
it's
strange
crazy
in and of itself.
Look, do I have some questions about the process? Maybe should some things have been communicated? Yeah, maybe. Okay, but look, the bottom line on a lot of this is it's happened before. They praised it when Obama did it. And when Trump does anything, there is an unwillingness to give him credit for hostages being released or anything. But what's interesting is, to me, it's fascinating psychologically, the reaction on the part of the left. Now, I had a friend on, my friend Steve Butts, who's a state representative running for state senate. We don't agree on a lot of things. He's a Democrat, but he's a sane Democrat. But he was crazy about this on my roundtable on Friday. I'm like, Steve, isn't it possible that me? And I'm trying to get some of my left-wing friends to look at this in a different way. And then lo and behold, the Washington Post and the New York Times did it for me. But psychologically, and I get it because some people even said that on social media. This is what he's doing to the country. The problem is, and Charles, look, I try to look at this stuff. So let's ask those people on the left, what in the world has this president done to you that's so horrific right now? Your taxes are going to stay low because if Kamala's in there, your taxes are going up. There's no doubt about it after the first of the year. The number of people crossing the border is down to pretty much nothing. Inflation is down. The price of gas is down. We're solving international conflicts, but they hate him so much. They don't. Right, I know. They hate him so much they can't give an inch, if not just a centimeter.
Picky, Mark.
Yeah, right, I know. Terrible. Terrible of me.
Really, well, the point is, I think that in a certain way this is true of people who support him. I think you often have to take a step back and say, what's going right, what's going wrong, what is seriously right, and what's seriously wrong. And one of the things that's seriously right, just before we go, is something you and I talked about a couple of weeks ago. I said that one of the we don't know if what's happening in Gaza will lead to anything other than a temporary kind of cold peace. But one thing we can be very sure of it will allow the United States to begin concentrating more on the genuine threat that's coming from China in Asia. And that's exactly what we're seeing on the current trip.
You can always find great pieces on Charles's website, which is charleslipson.com. I always appreciate you coming on here, Charles. Have a great week.
You too, Mark.
All right, take care.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
So 270 northbound is heavy going from Manchester to before 64 with a crash on the right shoulder, and then Page to before 70 with another crash. It's on the shoulder. Southbound side slow from Page down to Tesson Ferry. We've got 70 westbound slows 170 through the airport. Eastbound side over to the river to 270. 170 southbound fills in from Olive down to before 64 with a crash still active. Northbound side slows from 64 to Olive. 64 westbound Kings Highway to 270 with a crash working there. And then 364 to 70, just normal delays. 44 westbound is heavy from Lindbergh to 270. 55 southbound, heavy from Arsenal down through the work zone to Bates. This report is sponsored by Aspen Contracting. Is your siding dragging your home's curb appeal down? Aspen Contracting can transform your house with new siding, fast, efficient, and built to last. Don't settle for an eyesore. Call Aspen today for your free siding inspection, 636-465-1696. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Are you nearing retirement and don't know if you have enough money saved to retire? That is scary. Do you have a written retirement financial plan in place? Well, when it comes to retirement planning, the trusted team at Financial and Tax Architects are the best. They've helped people all over St. Louis retire with confidence. And that's what you want. You want to retire with confidence. Now, they offer a one-night, 2.5-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. They hold these at colleges over the St. Louis area and in Illinois. No cost, no obligation, just learning. And at this class, you learn how to avoid costly mistakes, how to maximize your income, how to reduce taxes in retirement. So call them today, 314-888-5101, or visit fta-ria.com and take the first step toward a smarter retirement. 314-888-5101.
Let Banner Construction show you what a difference James Hardy can make to your home. Banner's exterior design team will show you custom design options to transform your home into the neighborhood showplace. Banner is a preferred James Hardy and Pella window specialist. With winter just around the corner, now is the time to think about Pella windows for energy efficiency and comfort. Call Banner Construction, 314-569-1050 to schedule your free in-home consultation, or the website bannerconstruction.com, and have a banner day.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Missouri can count on.
Men, need a clinic that accepts all insurance, including Medicare? U.S. Men's Medical Center in St. Peters does. U.S. Men's helps men experiencing loss of energy, focus, concentration, and low libido. And they accept all insurance, even Medicare, for testosterone replacement therapy. Patients love the staff and the fact that, yes, I'm going to say it again, they accept all insurance, including Medicare. Feel better? Call U.S. Men's Medical Center at 636-244-5333.
Annie Fry here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They are the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
And this portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Alex Rich here checking in, and you may hear me putting up with Mark Reardon every Wednesday afternoon at 4 o'clock. And I am so excited to celebrate 25 years of 97.1 FM Talk. Cheers to 25 more years ahead.
Celebrating 25 years of 97.1 in St. Louis.
Alex will be with us tomorrow for some fun. We have George Gray from The Price is Right coming in here in the next hour. We do a little game called The Price is Wrong, Mark. George invented it. He copyrighted it. He makes millions off the syndication, and we're going to do it in the next hour. So, you know, all the hyperventilation about the East Wing, here's the view, of course.
That is not your building. You
Correct.
don't own that building. You don't own it. You cannot throw take it down. You don't own it.
That's lovely, isn't it?
Except the word nihilist.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had a free moment.
Yeah.
And that's what he is. He annihilates.
This is a metaphor for what's going on in our country.
Yeah, it's the metaphor thing, of course. And then there's Tim Walz. This buffoon is out there. So I can't believe he runs a state.
They are choosing to prioritize. And when the White House press secretary said the top priority is the ballroom, we could not disagree more. Quit scapegoating people who are hungry and making up stories that are not true.
Yeah, he's such a liar. Talk about making up stories that are not true. Actually, listen to the quote from Caroline.
In addition to the ballroom and the Rose Garden patio, is the president looking at any other renovations or significant kind of projects here at the White House?
Not to my knowledge, no. But he's a builder at heart, clearly. And so his heart and his mind is always churning about how to improve things here on the White House grounds. But at this moment in time, of course, the ballroom is really the president's main priority.
He was specifically talking about, referring to the president. She was specifically talking about the White House renovations. But Tim Walz doesn't care about that. The Democrats don't care about that. They'll lie as much as they can and hypocritically do so while claiming that the other side is lying. Beth Brelje wrote about some of this. She's the elections correspondent for The Federalist, joins us this afternoon. Hey, Beth, how are you? Welcome to 97.1 FM Talk in St. Louis.
Hey. Hi, Mark. How you doing?
I'm good. This has just been one that I've been fascinated with here the last week and a half because of the way that the heads on the left are exploding. I would not have, you put a menu of issues in front of me and you say this is going to happen and, rank the ones that will make their heads explode. I guess I didn't think this one would be that big of a deal. But again, it's that symbolism that they're apparently lacking, or actually leaning into, if you will, right?
Yeah, in my piece, I have just a handful of the many social media posts out there where people are comparing the demolition process at the White House to the destruction on September 11th. What? That's not the same thing at all.
Yeah, let me offer that example. So someone tweets out there, the East Wing survived Osama bin Laden's 9/11 attacks. The East Wing has not survived Trump's attack of October 2025. That's just stupid. It's stupid to give, and then millions of people retweet crap like that, right?
Yeah, and I couldn't fit all the tweets or X's, whatever,
Right. No, I get it.
I couldn't fit all of them into the story, but if you do a search on social media, you're going to see there's just a ton of these September 11th / White House demolition posts out there. But, this is crazy. We have, for over 150 years, needed to do something about the event space in the White House. It needed improvement. We've been putting people like dignitaries in tents about a football field away from the White House. Imagine walking in heels. Can you imagine that, Mark?
Yeah, well, the president pointed that out. You act like I've never walked in heels. You don't know that. We can do
I
anything we want these days. But no, I mean, that's the funny thing. And there's people that are posting pictures of themselves and people that they know saying this is in the East Wing, and it's not. It's in the walkway to get to the East Wing or maybe to the tent outside. So there's all kinds of misrepresentations of this. And as I said last week, I mean, if you were to believe some of the people, Beth, on social media and you didn't really know what was going on, which, by the way, was probably millions of people in this country, you would have thought he was actually tearing down the residence. That's what they were saying. He's tearing down the White House. Look at these images. Well, no, there's a West Wing, and it's on that side of the White House, the west side. There's an East Wing on the other side, and the residence is in the middle. Even Chelsea Clinton wrote about this, apparently forgetting that her father might have done some damage to that actual White House involving a cigar in the Oval Office and some other things. Trump even joked maybe they should name the ballroom the Monica Lewinsky Ballroom.
Well, honestly, there's a bunch of hubbub about what he's going to name it, and I hope they call it the Trump Ballroom because he deserves it, and nobody else is going to do it for them, and it'll be a scandal one day if they change it. But he might do something different than that. I wouldn't be surprised if it is the Trump Ballroom, and it ought to be because he's putting a lot of his own money into it. But, the Clintons had taken away China from the White House. That was the people's dishes, and they had to send it back because they stole that from, like if they hadn't been caught, they'd still have White House historic dishes. But I go back to this tent idea. Are we really going to have the King of England come over here and have him go into a tent and use a porta potty for a state event. That's not great representation of our nation at all. This is a needed project. It's going to look dynamite. We've got pictures of one rendering and then links to all the other renderings. It's going to be gorgeous when it's done.
Is it a legitimate? The one thing that I did say, and I don't know, I know you addressed this in the column. I don't know the particulars, and I think the protocol is different because it's not tax dollars. But is there a legitimate point to be made about checking with groups relating to what you can do to historic preservation, et cetera?
Well, there are. There was a lawsuit that was brought last week, but today the couple that brought the lawsuit actually dismissed it themselves. So apparently not. But they have listed actually 5 layers of approval process that they wanted. They wanted to let the rubble just sit there and have Trump stop the process of the renovation while he goes through 5 layers of historical and permitting process and then a public approval process. Probably would have taken a couple of years to go through all that. And as a professional builder, I think he knows how to
Cut
work
the red
around
tape.
it.
That's right. Cut that red tape for sure. Well, it is a
you
fascinating.
Put up a shed in your yard and had the city come after you. It's like that on steroids, what they wanted to do.
Oh,
but anyway.
I know. And I brought this up in relation to COVID because I have a friend that works in, and it's a very non-sexy industry, the industrial gas industry, nitrogen and oxygen. And when we were told, we're running out of oxygen during COVID, the truth is we were not running out of liquid oxygen. We didn't have the infrastructure to convert it. And one of the reasons in California in particular is because of all the red tape. And my friend was like, to get a plant, to get these new tanks in there, it takes like 5 years. And it's, you have some hospitals that are grandfathered in because of the cost and because of the obstacles that are put in their way. So I can't even imagine what the rules are. Even, we have I'll bring this up, Beth, because I was exposed to this to a certain extent. I have, and it's a good thing that my colleague Sue Thomas isn't here today because she hears me bitching about this all the time. There's a little road project right by my house, and 99% of the listeners right now are probably sick and tired of hearing me complain about it. But what was interesting is I went to the Community Valley Park here in St. Louis to ask for the financials and the plans and everything. I just kind of wanted to see what was going on. And they send me all the contracts. And the boxes that you have to check for DEI and minority representation, I don't know how anything gets done. When I read through this stuff, it was stunning. I'll tell you who's the winners, the lawyers, because they have to craft all this language and make sure that it's all being, cross the T's and the I's dotted. But it's unbelievable the amount of nonsense that's in these, proposals and contracts.
Well, I'm a longtime reporter, and I can tell you that I have sat through hours and hours of meetings for like historical review boards, arguing with a homeowner over what color of paint they're going to make their front door because it had to be just the right shade of blue, not just any blue, and what kind of shutters they wanted to put next to their windows so that it fit in. And you asked if that is appropriate. Yes, it is appropriate. But you know what? Trump put this out there in July, and nobody had any complaints about it. The renderings were out there in July. Nobody talked about it until the biggest secret in D.C. right now, or the biggest secret kept with the media, is that the government shutdown is happening. The Democrats are in charge of that shutdown. They can end it today. Republicans are ready to go. They don't want to talk about it. So let's talk about Trump and this White House thing, because that's easy for the public to understand.
Well, and the pictures too, because this is where social media plays a role. When you see, look, I'll admit, when you see the pictures and you don't have the context, it can be a little jarring, right? It looks like a bulldozer just rolled over a bunch of stuff. Beth Brelje is here, who's the elections correspondent for the Federalist. Since you cover elections, what is your latest take on what's going on in Virginia right now? I'm a little confused as to why Winsome Sears can't close the gap a little bit more with Abigail Spanberger, but the Jay Jones race seems to have flipped in the aftermath of all that controversy. Is that what you're seeing?
I will say I personally haven't been covering that race, the Jones one, but I live in Pennsylvania, and it's very annoying that our Governor Josh Shapiro, who is going to for sure run for president, even though he just won't say it out loud, was riding a bus or a subway or something in Virginia with her yesterday. and they were talking about what kind of pumpkin spice coffee they ordered.
Of course,
it
they
was
were.
like the world's longest, most boring video. And she won't talk about anything of substance, but she can, get this glamorous Shapiro, because he's kind of a golden child in politics right now, to come to her aid. So she needs a little propping up like that. But hopefully.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, look, that was an important race 4 years ago, and I watched Glenn Youngkin, and he was trailing in the polls, and, he closed the deal. I don't think he was trailing by as much as Winsome is right now, so we'll have to see what happens next week. Listen, Beth, thank you so much for jumping on here in St. Louis with me. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right, take care.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, here's where we're at. 270 northbound is heavy spots from Doherty Ferry up to 270, or just before 70, that is. We got a crash in 2.5 right lanes, almost 3 right lanes there, partial third right lane there, and then slow from Page to Tesson Ferry on your southbound side. 70 westbound is slow from 170 through the airport, eastbound side over the river to 270. 170 southbound heavy before Olive to before 64 with a crash in the left lane, and northbound side is slow going from 64 up to Olive with Gapers delays. 64 westbound slows going from Kings Highway over to 270 with a crash, and then 364 to 70. 60, make that eastbound side slows from 270 to Big Bend Jefferson onto the Poplar Street Bridge, and 44 westbound slow from Lindsborg to the 270 southbound ramp. 55 southbound from Arsenal down to Bates, pretty heavy. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Thank you, Trent. Yeah, Sue's off. She'll be back tomorrow.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan at McKelvey Homes. Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
It was a year ago this month that I had a project, my wife and I, my family, with Michael's Flooring Outlet, and we were so happy with the way that everything went down. I remember texting Mike and saying, listen, I've talked about my bunny Oreo before. Oreo can create a little carpet damage, and he did when he was younger in particular. He doesn't really do it anymore, but it was enough to say, let's pull that carpet out of my daughter's room and put hard flooring in, because I see the messes that she's creating. And by the way, boy, was I vindicated on that, because now the puppy that we have in our house is knocking over her Starbucks cups in her room. And yes, my daughter has Starbucks cups, and it's not because of me, it's because of my wife. I would have vetoed those. But let's get back to Michael's Flooring, because Mike and the team can hook you up with a great fall project. If you're interested in some samples, you can go online right now and order some with a great code. Order 3 free. Use the code 3 free, or just go into one of the 3 great locations that they have here in St. Louis, in Old Town St. Peters, in Darden Prairie, in Creve Coeur on Olive. The website igotfloored.com for Michael's Flooring Outlet.
Hi, it's Brian Kilmeade. Congratulations to 97.1 FM Talk on 25 years. For me, you've always been so important and a part of my day. Knowing that St. Louis is listening has made this show worth doing. Cheers to the next chapter.
As the old saying goes, size matters.
At Morgan & Morgan, we have over 1,000 lawyers and nearly 6,000 people on staff.
But at the core, this is and always has been a family business.
Our family watching out for your family.
Call us or email us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even on a Saturday or a Sunday.
And if you ever have a problem, call our mom.
Morgan & Morgan.
For the people and your family.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
License number E2014A.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Lights flickering?
Grasser can fix it.
Breaker keeps tripping?
That's a Grasser job.
Outlet not working?
Grasser makes it right.
Old wiring need a rewire?
Grasser rewires with care.
From little fixes to major fixes.
Even the tricky ones.
We treat your home like our own.
Treat? Did you say treat?
Woof. Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy, Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com, or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
So maybe I should be watching a little bit more News Nation these days. We have kind of hooked up with Leland Vittert, who is a St. Louis guy. And I never knew Leland until just a few weeks ago. I was on KMOX for many years, as I think a lot of you are aware. And Charlie Brennan, legendary St. Louis host, had Lucky Vittert, as he's known, on his show all the time. And I'm not a poacher, so I didn't ever invite him to my show because some people have certain guests. And, we keep them very protective sometimes at hosts, and sometimes people poach and sometimes don't. I didn't in that case, but he wrote a book and it came out, and I thought it was pretty interesting because he talks about his autism, and I had no idea his entire story. And Leland was on with us last week talking about the government shutdown as well. He even volunteered. He texted me right away and said, "Hey, you guys need help on anything or a different perspective, let me know." So I'm not going to lie. I've mainly watched Fox, and then I watch CNN for entertainment, or I listen when I'm in my car. But there's a guy by the name of Rob Finnerty, and he caught my attention because he did a bit last night, and I think he asked some really decent questions. And then it reminded us of an SNL bit, and I'll get to that here in a second.
On another note, tonight, the New York City mayoral debate last night, but I'm less interested in what the candidates actually said, and I'm more interested in why we keep doing this.
Government Affairs reporter Melissa Russo, senior politics editor at Politico Sally Goldenberg, and Telemundo 47 anchor Rosarena Breton. This is a 2-hour debate.
Rosarena, right? So Rob's point is, wait a second. Nobody else got a special pronunciation.
All right, so we have talked about this, and I just don't get why we do this, who started it, when this started. But whenever it is a Spanish name, we are all suddenly required and expected to shapeshift into the perfect Spanish accent. Normal, everyday news people do it all the time. They forget years of training. They forget their non-regional diction.
Yeah.
The Telemundo anchors, by the way, Rosarena Brenton. Just say Rosarena Brenton. But for whatever reason, we all feel the need to pronounce it like we're living in Mexico, like we're living in a country where Spanish is the native tongue. That's not the case here in the U.S. Rosarena Bretonia. He said it. I couldn't understand what he was saying.
Exactly. I love this guy. So then he goes on here. What if somebody did that to him, right?
As I've said before, I am Irish. And if I was moderating that debate, would the host introduce me as Robert James Finnerty, don't you know, the little lad? That he is, Robert James Finnerty. If the host was Chinese, would they then introduce that person with a Chinese accent?
Uh-oh.
I don't think so.
Nope.
So stop doing it when they're Spanish. Just stop it. Also, we don't need to say all three names when they are Spanish. No one describes me as Robert James Finnerty. I'm just Rob Finnerty. We don't need to say Kilmar Abreu Garcia. It's just Kilmar Garcia. I don't know who started this, but enough's enough. Stop.
Yeah.
Just stop.
I'm on Team Finnerty on this, and so was Saturday Night Live, even going back to the Phil Hartman days. Listen to this.
The fighting for now is over, but for the people of Nicaragua, that is small consolation. This is Robin Fletcher for NBC News, reporting from Managua, Nicaragua.
What do you think?
Well, it's a nice report, but is this the week to cover Nicaragua?
Well, I think Nicaragua is important. And not just Nicaragua, but also Honduras, and especially El Salvador.
But wasn't the big story the defeat of Ortega and the fall of the Sandinistas?
Well, so they're mocking this. This is a couple of decades ago. And then Jimmy Smits happens to be, he must have been the host this week. So he steps into the room.
Excuse me, everybody. I'd like you to meet our new economics correspondent, Antonio Mendoza.
Well, or Antonio Mendoza.
Oh, it's nice to meet you, Antonio.
I'm sorry, is it Mendoza or Mendoza?
Mendoza, just Mendoza.
Oh, all right.
Well, Antonio, Kathy here was just talking about our coverage of Nicaragua.
Yeah, well, I think that the economic development in that region is going to be a real big story.
Yeah.
Especially now that they don't have to worry about the contras.
So this was like woke before woke was woke. But guess who else was a part of this? Bob Costas.
Guys.
Hey, Bob!
A very young Bob Costas.
I heard you had some enchiladas.
Oh, man. We've got some dynamite chimichangas, too.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great. Can I dig in?
Sure.
Bob, this is our economics correspondent, Antonio Mendoza.
Oh, hi. Antonio Mendoza.
Well,
nice
Antonio.
to meet you.
Bob Costas. Nice to see you.
So, Bob, have you got any hot picks for us this weekend?
Well, I like the Broncos. The Broncos? You're nuts. No way the Broncos beat San Diego in San Diego. You're out of your mind.
Oh, fine. And this is the guy who picked Tampa Bay by 6 over San Francisco.
Oh, my God. Hey, I got to give Costas a little credit there, but can you even imagine doing a bit like that in 2024 or 2025? You'd be, run out of town. You'd be canceled right away. I think, well, this is what we know. We know that SNL can't really do politics in a funny way in the era of Trump because they always want to, poke fun at him, not the people. By the way, I mean, I didn't watch the last couple of weeks. I think I watched a musical guest from a couple of weeks ago because I like the musical guest, and now I can't remember who it was. But I can't turn that show on. I really can't. And this is so ripe for great comedy with Kamala coming out and doing her word salads again. They should be poking fun at that. There's a lot to be poking fun of right now on the other side, but they won't do it. I'm sure if I had to, and maybe it wasn't a live episode this past Saturday, but the weeks during the shutdown, I'm sure everything is pointed toward the Republicans and no acceptance of any blame by the Democrats. All right, we're going to take a break here at the top of the hour. Ethan will have Sue's news. She is off today. She'll be back tomorrow. After Your Money Now, which is the Fox Business Report, our friend George Gray from The Price is Right is in town. He plays a little game here on this radio station called The Price is Wrong. One of the big local political stories today, and I just read Mike Ehlmann's post on Facebook. Mike, a good friend and St. Charles County councilman, he will also be hosting this show on Friday. He'll do the roundtable. Mike was all in as a candidate for St. Charles County executive, but Steve Ehlmann, the current St. Charles County executive, decided that he is back in the race. He wasn't going to run. He doesn't like the fact that Bill Eigel might win that race, so he's back. He's going to join us in the studio and talk about that live in the 5 o'clock hour right after the news at 5:04.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Things are pretty tough if you're on 170 southbound, heavy from Olive to before 64. They're still working a crash in that left lane. Northbound side slows from 64 up to that same point. You've got 270 northbound, heavy spots from Doherty Ferry up to 270. And that's just before 70 where you've got a crash in the two right lanes. And then you're slow southbound from Page down to Tesson Ferry. 70 westbound slows 170 through the airport. Eastbound side over the river to 270. Got delays on 64 westbound Kings Highway over to 270. We had an earlier crash that's gone now. 364 to 70 heavy beyond that, and eastbound side from 270 to Big Bend, Jefferson onto the Poplar Street Bridge. Westbound on 44, heavy Lindbergh onto the southbound 270 ramp, and 55 southbound heavy Arsenal to Bates. This report is sponsored by the Diamond Shop, making St. Louis sparkle for over 100 years. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Pella windows are probably the, if not the best-known brand, one of the best-known brands in the industry. They're outstanding. Also, Pella is celebrating 100 years in business this year, which I think is amazing. The window and doors are really, really inspired. They look great from the inside and out. They come in a variety of colors and finishes, etc. And if you're looking for maybe just a new front door or an entryway, or if you want new windows because you're feeling all that cold air seep in during the winter and all the cool air seep out during the summer. Maybe you don't have energy-efficient windows. They can help you find the right windows and doors for your situation, for your home, and for your budget in particular. There's a great kind of section on the website of Banner Construction. You can find out a lot about what they do, not only with Pella windows, but with James Hardy, as they're a preferred James Hardy installer as well. So if you need a quote, and get ahead of it because these are big projects, if you need to get on the horn with Banner Construction, do so today. They'd love to sit down. It's a free in-home design consultation. BannerConstruction.com or 314-569-1050.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month. LifeLock is here with tips to help protect your identity. Use strong passwords, set up multi-factor authentication, report scams, and update your software. And for comprehensive identity protection, LifeLock is your best choice. LifeLock alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal information and fixes identity theft, guaranteed, or your money back. Start your protection today with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
You know your customers. Ralph likes his coffee black on Fridays, but Mondays he takes a little cream. Jennifer comes in every 3 years when her lease is up to get the newer and better model. And for some reason, pepperoni pizza sells like crazy on Friday nights. Who knew? At Odyssey, we have the expertise to get your media plan done right. With ads like you're hearing right now, to targeted social media campaigns, search engine optimization, and location-based advertising. Advertise with Odyssey and help us grow your business. Visit ads.odyssey.com.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, health care, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
KFTK FM Florissant.
An Odyssey station.
Just do it. Lisa Brady, Fox News. That's the message from Vice President J.D. Vance to Senate Democrats after a short-term spending bill failed again, the 13th time it failed to reach the 60 votes needed on day 28 of a government shutdown, with pain spreading.
We are trying as much as possible to ensure that critical food benefits get paid, that our military gets paid. But you know what makes it really easy? If the Democrats just opened up the government, then we wouldn't have to play this game.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries.
Democrats continue to make clear that we will sit down with our Republican colleagues anytime, any place, here at the Capitol or back at the White House, in order to reopen the government.
Republicans say talks will not happen while a shutdown continues. On Saturday, food assistance benefits will be suspended, and Democrat-led states are suing, asking a federal judge to force the use of contingency funds.
There are billions of dollars in contingency funds and other funds that could be used to provide SNAP benefits during the shutdown.
California Attorney General Rob Bonta, but Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins tells Fox
100% unequivocally, USDA does not have the $9.2 billion that it would require.
More than 20 states are part of the lawsuit, arguing not releasing the funds approved by Congress will violate federal law. Hurricane Melissa is hammering Jamaica after making landfall with 185-mile-per-hour winds, then heading northeast toward Montego Bay.
That entire area is lined with resorts and hotels. 25,000 tourists are still on the island, hunkered down inside those structures.
Fox Weather's Robert Ray, about 50 miles east of Montego Bay. Life-threatening flooding, also a concern. 2 feet of rain possible in some areas before Melissa heads back into the sea toward Cuba and the Bahamas tomorrow. America is listening to Fox News.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month. LifeLock is here with tips to help protect your identity. Use strong passwords, set up multi-factor authentication, report scams, and update your software. And for comprehensive identity protection, LifeLock is your best choice. LifeLock alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal information and fixes identity theft, guaranteed, or your money back. Start your protection today with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
What we see is what we get for evening plans and overnight into Wednesday morning. Cloudy, periods of rain, breezy. We'll go down to about 45 degrees. Quite nippy to be out and about, and you'll need the umbrella this evening. Wednesday, morning showers up until about midday. Cloudy, windy, and chilly, 53. Wednesday night, partly cloudy and cold, 42. Thursday, dried out, sunshine and chilly. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Well, we do not have the whole team here today. Sue Thomas had to take the day off. She'll be back tomorrow. And then as a programming note, I'm taking a couple of days off here later in this week, Thursday and Friday. I will be back on Monday. I had to sprinkle some vacation days in, Fred, since I took like 60 sick days over the summer.
Yeah, Ethan and I were trying to figure that out.
Well, you know, if I'm being honest, I feel a little guilty about it, right? Which is why it was funny, because I don't know if you ever were dialed into this, but, you know, for the audience who was not aware, between May and the first week of August, I missed quite a bit of work because of a mental health crisis. And I had some dates for vacation because originally I was planning to go to Vegas like in August on a Thursday and Friday. So I get back to work, and then the next week is when I was supposed to have the vacation days. And Trisha's like, hey, because I don't think they could have taken them away from me, you know, because they were my vacation days. But anyway, she said, are you still taking off next week? I'm like, no, I'm going to give you a little break. And so besides around the holidays, these will be the only 2 days that I will take off. We're going to do a remote, Fred. I don't know if you're aware of that, the Monday of Thanksgiving week for Guns and Hoses.
Yeah, that's right.
So I better not say too much more about that because I don't think it's totally confirmed. But then on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'll be off. You might be taking that week off too.
I think I am.
Yeah, right. So, and maybe Sue, we'll have to see. But that's like a holiday week, and I'm so glad. You know, they used to like not give you that day after Thanksgiving is just now that's a holiday, right? Which is, I think, a good idea.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, good.
You didn't know that?
No.
I think they just made that because it's dumb to not have it as a holiday.
I agree.
Well, maybe I'm misrepresenting something, but I know that I'm off on that day too. Hey, so George Gray's coming in. He's going to do The Price is Wrong. We always have a lot of fun with that. That's one of our moments on the show where we can kind of take a deep breath and just have fun and laugh. And I know that Sue's going to be very disappointed because she's missing George. I do know that Judy Reardon up in Chicago, my mother, is very excited because I've already gotten a text from her. We have Ethan's news in just a couple of minutes. But did you hear, Fred, I don't know if I've shared this with you yet. Lawrence O'Donnell, who's one of the talk show hosts on MSNBC, did you hear what he did with Jennings?
No.
So I love this because now you'll hear him say that he, you know, beats Jennings. It's not Jennings' show, by the way. It's Abby Phillips. It's CNN. But he decides that he wants to go on this rant against Scott Jennings.
And now CNN eagerly pays a Trump supporter to lie on CNN every day and night for Donald Trump. CNN did this during the first Trump presidential campaign and presidency. CNN regularly paid Trump supporters to lie about Trump on CNN. But
yeah, that's the way that he represents it, that they're just putting someone on there to lie about Trump when they pretty much lie about everything that he does.
CNN regime then realized that was a mistake, and they stopped doing it. They stopped paying for lies. But then CNN got a new head. The head of CNN for the last 3 years, hired by the Trump-supporting owner and operator of CNN, is an Englishman who thinks paying Scott Jennings to lie about Donald Trump is money very well spent. Scott Jennings, who used to be an aide to Senator Mitch McConnell, was not always a rabid, lying Trump supporter. When he first started appearing on television, he was capable of criticizing some of the more extreme Trump positions, but Scott Jennings figured out where the money is.
Now, we've had Scott on the show for 8 or 9 years at this point. He didn't really break out until last year. He's been coming on here for a long time talking about Trump policies, and he was doing that on CNN as well. The difference is that things changed the night of the first debate, and we were there at that party in St. Charles. Fred, I could not wait to get into the car and specifically turn on CNN because I was dying to hear how the panel would react, because I didn't know if they would be honest, and I was shocked. I knew Jennings would be honest about what he saw, but I was shocked because Van Jones and Axelrod, they all kind of saw what the rest of the country saw, and they were forced to be honest. But that's kind of what put a lot of focus on Jennings. And then as, you know, you built up in the ensuing weeks to Kamala stepping in the race and the, you know, assassination attempt, et cetera, his stardom just skyrocketed, right? So the other rumor, let me play a little bit more of this, but the other rumor about Jennings involves CBS News. I'll get to that here in a second. A little bit more of Larry O'Donnell.
And how he could get his own podcast and decided to become the J.D. Vance of CNN. Here's how bad that television is that they make over there.
Oh, here's
the
Larry.
show that Scott Jennings frequents the most is on opposite this program. And that show, on a good night, gets half of the audience of this show. This program usually has an audience triple the size of the terrible, terrible television that Scott Jennings is delivering on the absurdly degraded version of CNN, presided over by the man who thinks lying for Donald Trump on TV is an honorable pursuit and should be paid for by CNN.
Larry's very upset. First of all, it's not Jennings' show. There's like 20 people on those panels, right? He's just the only one making sense. And Larry and the MSNBC crew who go on there hyperventilating about everything that Trump does, why would you even give attention to that? If your ratings really are 3 times the size, and by the way, he might not be off because the CNN ratings are bad, but it's not because of Scott Jennings. If anything, I think you can make the case that the ratings would be worse if they didn't have Jennings on the panel.
3 times nothing is still nothing.
Well, I think MSNBC, they have their niche, and I think their niche is stronger than CNN. CNN doesn't exactly know what it wants to be in those moments at night. You know, Fox is pretty defined. Let's face it. You're not going to, tune into Fox and wonder what you're going to get. On CNN, on any given night, that's not necessarily the case because the panels shift. Jennings on there most of the times, but some of the other people on there, shift around. They're just trying to have a discussion. I think the bigger problem is that the left-wing lunatics tune into MSNBC because that's what they want. They want that garbage, right? The people who want to consume news, they used to go to CNN because they trusted CNN. A lot of us thought, we could trust CNN, right? Well, we learned a long time ago that we couldn't. So then you start watching Fox News or Newsmax or whatever else might happen out there with some of the changes to media. But I do think it's funny that he spent like 5 minutes talking about Jennings last night when, if you're kicking his ass so bad, and you're not really because you're doing it to Abby Phillips and to CNN and not to him. But that shows that you got under someone's skin. And by the way, let me just read. So Jennings tweeted that out and said, no, Lawrence, I do not have time to save your show. I thought that was good. And then you remember this from the other day? I played this yesterday. AOC screaming about immigrants in front of this crowd when she was campaigning for Mamdani.
The city was built by the Irish escaping famine, Italians fleeing fascism, Jews escaping Holocaust, Black Americans fleeing slavery and Jim Crow, Latinos.
There's the whole Saturday Night Live bit I just played. Latinas!
Seeking a better life. Native people standing for themselves. Asian Americans coming together in Queens, in Brooklyn, in the Bronx, in Manhattan, in Staten Island.
Yeah.
In this country in a vision to build the freest, toughest, and greatest city on earth.
So she's nuts, but she is a good speaker and she has charisma, so she's going to draw a lot of attention by the socialists and the communists. So last night, I mentioned this before that, Fred, when I leave the building here at 6 o'clock, I get in the car and honestly, I listen to Laura's show on Fox because I think she does a pretty good job. And, as I've said before, Eric Schmidt's on there like 90% of the time, so it's always good to catch up with him. But when I tuned in last night when I was listening, Riley Gaines was on. And she was great. And, I don't know if you saw this stuff with AOC and Riley Gaines. Did you see what she had done? So let me read this so I don't misrepresent exactly what the tweet said. But, of course, she says this because she's referring to Riley. She says, maybe if you channeled all this anger into swimming faster, you wouldn't have come in fifth. Riley Gaines. So Riley Gaines pointed out, and I'm not sure if I have that in this soundbite, that, Leah Thomas, Will finished, 442nd in the same events that he was entered against the women. But with the women, he ties Riley Gaines, right? So that becomes the story, and then we know what's happened since then. But this was the challenge for Riley last night on Laura's show. I love this. And, of course, AOC will never take her up on this.
AOC to a debate. She can defend socialism. I will defend capitalism. She can defend removing God. I will defend embracing a biblical worldview. She can defend child sacrifice. I will defend the sanctity of life. Any of the radical, insane democratic policies and platform that they stand for, I will debate the opposite. I'm challenging AOC to it here.
Wouldn't that be awesome? And she will not accept that, but that would be an amazing event to see. So we have George Gray coming up after Ethan's news. Ethan's going to pinch hit for Sue this afternoon. Steve Ehlmann Ehlmann, current St. Charles County executive, looked like he was not going to run again. He's back in that race. He's going to join us live in the studio after 5 o'clock. Max Raskin will be here at 5:30 or so. He's a professor, an adjunct professor at NYU, and he wrote, this is one of those things, there's a couple things in this country that still baffle me beyond any belief. I lived in what I like to call the People's Republic of Wisconsin, and I think some of the rules have probably changed, hopefully, since I left there 20 years ago, but you literally, in a beer city like Milwaukee, if you got off work at a certain time, and let's say you were a nurse or a doctor or something with a late shift, you couldn't go into a grocery store and buy alcohol. You could go to the bar and pick up packaged alcohol, but you couldn't buy it in a grocery store. It was just ridiculous. In Pennsylvania, they essentially have state-run liquor stores. I mean, you want to talk about socialism and communism. And in New Jersey, and this is what's fascinating, this is what Max is going to join us. They have a big governor's race there. Both of the candidates for governor support the policy that they've had for, I think, 70 years maybe in New Jersey, where it's not legal to pump your own gas. So they want to control who pumps your gas. In America, this is happening. It's always fascinated me. And Max will weigh in on that.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
All right, we've got slowdowns on 270 northbound, pretty much from Doherty Ferry on up to 70. We had an earlier crash there that's been cleared out of the two right lanes. Southbound side slow, Page down to Tesson Ferry. 70 westbound is slow going 170 through the airport. Eastbound side over the river to 270 and then past 170 over to Lucas Hunt. And then we've got 170 southbound, still heavy from Olive to just before 64 with a crash in that left lane. They're still working that. Northbound side slows from 64 on up to that same point. 64 westbound, slow from Kings Highway over to 270, and then 364 to 70. Eastbound side slows from 270 to Big Bend. Jefferson onto the Poplar Street Bridge. 44 westbound jammed up from Lindbergh to 270 southbound ramp, and 55 southbound from Arsenal jammed through the work zone down to Bates. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Climate Masters. We specialize in older homes. Climate Masters Heating and Cooling. Trusted heating and cooling installation and maintenance service. Keeping the St. Louis Metro comfortable since 1978. Call us today at 314-968-8383. Climate Masters.
When you go shopping, you may not get the bargain you want, but at least you know and can compare prices. It should be that way with healthcare, but too often it's not. Need an operation on your knee? Want to know what it's going to cost? Good luck. For 3 years, hospitals have been required to provide patients with list prices and have negotiated charges for some 300 services. Just over a third are fully compliant. In Missouri, prices differ greatly depending on a patient's insurance. The cost of a pelvic CT scan, for example, can be 20 times more expensive in one hospital than another. Price transparency allows patients to compare providers, forces hospitals to compete on price, and helps insurers negotiate lower rates. State law should require all healthcare providers to publish prices in a user-friendly form. What we don't know is costing us. The price of healthcare shouldn't be a secret. Check out our 2025 blueprint, Moving Missouri Forward at ShowMeInstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install a Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
He's not here to play nice. He's here to make you think. Mark Reardon on 97.1 FM Talk.
We got George Gray in here from The Price is Right. He's going to play a little game we like to call The Price is Wrong. Mark, coming up in a matter of minutes, we like to pop the stress bubble. A lot of times on the Mark Reardon Show, and this happened to be one of those days. Unfortunately, Sue is not here, so she will not be allowed to play. But Ethan, you're in this afternoon, right?
It's time to go.
All right. You're also going to do Ethan's news, if I'm not mistaken, so let's get that underway.
These allegations are deeply concerning.
Does the president have any comment?
We're not going to comment.
It's not clear messaging.
No.
And now, Sue's News, presented by U.S. Men's Medical Center.
Thank you very much. And, usually Sue starts off Sue's News with a what day it is, or what
day in history. This day in history,
the
right?
national whatever day. Okay,
right.
We're gonna get to that, but it's just far too important of a this day in history for me to where I have to start off with this.
Okay.
So.
Oh, you're saying, look, yeah, she does National Hot Dog Day or whatever,
Correct.
right? Yeah,
yes.
whatever that might be.
So we're gonna get to that.
Okay.
But we're gonna get to this first. 14 years ago today, 2011. Go ahead and play this.
In the air to left, well hit. Back is Craig. What a team. What a ride. The Cardinals are world champs in 2011.
Oh, my goodness. That was so much fun. I was there that night. It was at Game 6 as well. But, Game 7 was kind of anticlimactic. After we won Game 6, it was over. We were like, we're winning this thing. Don't you remember that, though, Fred?
Oh, yeah.
So Game 7 was anticlimactic compared to Game 6.
Yes. Well, I even think compared to a lot of World Series because, look, that young Ethan, that night was so electric. It was unreal.
Oh,
and
I remember it like it was yesterday.
You managed to pull that off, and I don't think there was any doubt who was going to win the World Series. And I was sitting, by the way, about 10 rows behind Nolan Ryan during both those nights. And I said to my friend who was with me at Game 6, I said, look, we're going to stay to the final out, but we're getting out of here right away because I don't want to see this celebration in front of me. And luckily, I never got to see that.
David Freese, at the time, broke the record for postseason RBIs in the bottom of the first inning, tied the game up at 2 with a 2-run double. Alan Craig hit the go-ahead home run a couple of innings later to make it 3-2, and it robbed a home run that night as well. If you remember that, there was a hit by pitch that scored a run. There was a bases loaded walk that scored a run, and then Molina had a base hit that made it 6-2. And then you heard the call there from Joe Buck, Jason Mott securing
By the way,
final out.
Can I just say something on a personal note? And I told Joe this when you had your Hall of Fame induction, Fred. Was that last year already, or was it this year?
It was. No, it was
so
last year.
I'm sorry. I miss Joe Buck on baseball. What's his name that does this?
Joe Davis.
Joe Davis. He doesn't do anything for me. He really doesn't.
Really?
He's a decent broadcaster. But when I was watching him and Smotes last night, when they were doing just an intro segment, there was no electricity to it or excitement. I just think they're boring together. I'd like to see someone with more chemistry.
I felt that way at the start, but I think his play-by-play has really gotten better.
Ethan likes it.
Yeah.
I love Joe Davis.
Yeah.
Joe Davis is one of my favorite broadcasters in any sport right now. I love Joe Buck too, though, so it's a win-win for me.
Well, but you have to understand, a lot of this is personal. I've flipped around on people before too, and in this sense, I'll give you a great example, and I love him now. Like when I first moved back to St. Louis and I heard Ricky Horton doing some of the stuff on TV, I'm like, he wasn't doing it for me. It was nothing personal. But I'm like one of the biggest Ricky Horton fans and became one of the biggest. And let's face it, we just went through this movie, Soul on Fire. People didn't like Jack Buck nationwide. People don't like Joe Buck. They like hate him sometimes. I don't get that. But sometimes it's personal, what your ear is telling you. I just think that I miss that play-by-play type of call, and Joe Davis doesn't do it for me.
No, going back to Joe Buck and that call, what a legendary call in St. Louis. Everyone remembers what a team, what a ride. So an awesome call. And, the last time that the Cardinals won the World Series, 2011, 14 years ago, and I'm afraid it's probably going to be at least a couple more years until we have another what a team.
I'm worried about that, too.
For that Game 6 that went, into extra innings and the David Freese moment, I made the bad mistake as a parent. I did not let my boys stay up to watch it because they had school.
Oh, my parents didn't let me either.
So they were, they were 11 and 9.
Yeah.
And I had to tell them in the morning, and I just felt awful now even more than I did then.
Yeah, but that's pretty young to stay up.
Yeah.
As a parent, I get it, believe me.
Yeah, I was 11 as well, and I went to bed with it tied at 4, I think, in the 5th inning. Okay, all right. Now on to what national day it is. It's a big one, guys. Happy National Chocolate Day. 3 days until Halloween. It just feels like this is good timing for National Chocolate Day. Can we agree on that?
It should be a week.
It should be a week, Fred. I agree with that. A poll of 1,000 Americans found 79% of us eat chocolate at least once a week in general on
Once
Halloween
a
week.
Once a day.
On
or how about
Halloween
3
week,
times
though,
a day?
It's a lot more. 59% say that milk chocolate is their favorite type. Dark chocolate is next. White chocolate is a distant third. And if there's any doubt that Halloween runs on chocolate, a recent poll looked at the 10 Halloween candies that we opened first, and only one non-chocolate made the list. What would you guys guess at Halloween is the most popular candy?
Okay, I'm going to go
Snickers
with,
bar.
And I'm going to go with Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
That is number one. Ding, ding, ding. The bell is
which one?
not in front of me. Reese's is number one. Sorry, I was pointing at you, Fred. So Reese's is number one, followed by Kit Kat. Twix is third. M&M's is fourth. Snickers is fifth. Mark. Reese's Peanut Butter Pumpkins is sixth. Hershey's 7. Milky Way 8. Crunch Bars are 9. And Starburst, the only non-chocolate to make the list, is at number 10. According
Are you doing, like, I'm not going to be here, but they do this goofy, costume contest here. I haven't worn a Halloween costume, since I was maybe 11. But are you doing that this week?
I did it last year.
Yeah, I know.
don't
You're
if
doing
I'm
it this
gonna-
week,
I
though.
don't know.
Okay.
I only really did it last year because it was like we already had something.
I can't
that my
remember what
wife
you
had-
did. It was rather creative, wasn't it?
I wore a Stitch costume from Lilo and
Oh,
Stitch.
that's right.
But then also Annie's show did a costume little fun thing as well, and I was Popeye for that. So I had a couple of different ones last year.
But nothing planned for this week.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think
Alexa's
it's
so
gonna be boring.
excited. She's going with her friend as the Eat More Chicken. She's the cow.
Yes.
She's
You
the
had
cow
told
from
us about
Chick-fil-A.
this.
I know.
That
She's
is
she's got a
really-
sign that says Eat More Chicken, then
How
her
old is
friend
she?
is the
She's-
chicken.
How old is she?
She's 10.
That's pretty creative
Yeah.
for 10.
She loves it.
Yeah, that's awesome. According to a new report, the average American, it is found, spends nearly 48% of their paycheck within the first 48 hours, and 35% of the paycheck is gone within the first 12 hours. That's especially true among millennials, who spend money faster than any other generation. Most of the spending goes towards essentials. 52% of people say that they cover groceries or necessities. Others pay bills due to, within the week, or take care of major obligations like rent or credit cards. I don't know. My wife does more of the finances than I do, as far as the rent and all that. But I feel like that's a high percentage. Maybe I'm off on this. I don't know.
I was at the my friendly Walmart in High Ridge, which I express love for on a regular basis, and there was I can't remember what she was buying. Oh, it was chicken. It was just chicken breasts, and I didn't even think they were that expensive. And she must have been with a husband or someone that doesn't do a lot of grocery shopping, and he's like complaining. He's like, "You got to take a mortgage payment out for chicken." And she goes, "Why do you think I live paycheck to paycheck? Because I can't afford all this damn stuff." I thought it was very representative of the world that we live in. I mean, seriously, if you're not the shopper, and you said, Fred, you are,
Oh,
right?
I am.
I am too. But if you're not, try to go in a grocery store and buy stuff and look how expensive it is.
No kidding.
I think your mind would be blown on many fronts.
Okay, it's birthday time. This one is funny. Have you guys ever heard the name Justin Guarini?
Of course. Yeah, he was the runner-up in American Idol.
Wait, seriously? I did not expect anyone to know that name. What I
And
know
he's done
him,
some great commercials
Yes.
for
he was the Lil Sweet from
Yes.
Diet Dr.
Of
Diet
course.
Dr. Pepper. I didn't expect anyone to know his name. I didn't know that he was on American Idol. Well, it's his birthday. He's 47 today. Joaquin Phoenix is 51. Brad Paisley did the anthem last night at the World Series game, is 53. Julia Roberts is 58. Bill Gates is 70. Caitlyn Jenner is 76. So a lot of big names
there
for
are.
birthdays
Yeah,
today.
Justin Guarini became a little bit of a pop culture footnote just because he was good and then he finished his second. But those ads were really funny.
Yeah, they still are
They've
when I
done,
see them today.
Yeah, they've done pretty well.
389 years ago today, in 1636, Harvard College was founded in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Oh, how it has fallen. Also on this day in history, in 1858, after failing 7 times in previous business ventures, Roland H. Macy opened Macy's department store in New York City. He sold $11.06 worth of merchandise on his first day of business. How about that?
Yeah, I've had garage sales like that. That bad.
60 years ago today, in 1965, the St. Louis Gateway Arch was completed. How about that?
I think that's awesome, and I can always remember. Well, I don't really want to admit to why I can remember the number of Super Bowls and how old the the arches because it may or may not match up with my age. So it's easy to remember.
And I was there with my mom. I guess.
Were you really there when they put the?
That's awesome.
She was leading our parent for a room for a
That's
field trip
amazing.
with
That's
my
awesome.
sisters.
Okay, random fact time. The Big Mac was originally called the Aristocrat. That name bombed, so it was switched to the Blue Ribbon Burger. That also bombed, so then they went with the Big Mac.
There you go. I think they landed on something that worked,
I
right?
think so.
Thank you, Ethan. George Gray, The Price is Wrong. Coming up.
At Robinson with your money now. Stocks hit fresh record highs today on Wall Street after the latest batch of earnings results impressed investors. The Dow gaining 161 points, the S&P 500 up slightly by 15. And the tech-heavy NASDAQ gained 190, good enough for growth of 0.8%. United Parcel Service today reporting earnings that topped Wall Street's expectations, revealing deeper job cuts, though, as part of its turnaround plan. UPS said it's reduced its operational workforce by 34,000 jobs this year, greater than its previous estimate of 20,000. Nokia today announcing that NVIDIA will purchase $1 billion in new shares, solidifying a partnership that will see NVIDIA chips used to build cellular equipment. The two companies also struck a strategic partnership, according to CNBC. Crude oil futures falling 1.8%. They're above $60 a barrel. That's your money now.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
You know, for a while now, you've been able to make plays and win money with Underdog Fantasy in Missouri, and this is really one of those. I had this guy that sent me a message because last night, Ethan, what's the name of that thing? Like, every sport was going last night. Like, there's like a name for it or something. You had hockey, baseball, football. Yeah. I think it's something like that. Anyway, so it's a great time with Underdog because you can play on all sports. All you have to do, let's say we're looking at football, it's touchdowns, interceptions, running yards, etc. With basketball, you just have to choose whether your favorite player will go higher or lower on points, rebounds, steals, and more. And if you get your entries right, you can win up to 5,000 times your money. It all starts with downloading the app. You got to start there. Pick a username and a password, and then use this promo code, MARKR, M-A-R-K-R. That gets you $100 in bonus funds or bonus entries. $100 in bonus funds or bonus entries when you play your first $5. Again, the promo code is MARKR. Underdog. Make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
This portion of the show at 4:32 is sponsored by Jerry Kelly, heating, air conditioning, electrical, and plumbing.
From Belleville to Bridgeton, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, we welcome into the studio this afternoon the legendary George Gray from The Price is Right, who's with us to play a little game we like to call The Price is Wrong. We have to get kind of right to it, but how are you?
Wow, that was an amazing build-up, Mark. It was one of your best ever. Thank you very much for that. Hi, everybody.
Touching. I have the official theme, but I wanted to make sure that we get right into it because sometimes what we do, and the host is responsible, we talk a little bit too much on the front end of it. And we don't want to do that, do we? How about if we do it on the back end, right? That sounds dirty, but we're going to do it anyway.
Sounds like my kind of weekend. All right.
Let's see if I can play the right. Where's my theme here? Now that I went back to my disclaimer, here it is. Ready?
Yeah.
Friday evening as we... No, that's not it. What? That's supposed to be the theme right there, Ethan. It didn't play right.
It's Price is Wrong.
Mark. There, we'll just have to go with that. There's supposed to be music that... What in the world is going on here? Nope, that is not. Something got replaced on the hotkey. George, take it from here. How many times have we screwed this intro up, Fred?
Is it ever this bad on the TV show?
You know what? I can fix this. Well, we can fix any. That's the thing is with.
But can I tell you what's happening? I usually have the music bed that plays underneath.
Yep.
It is completely a different file. It's now me. Somehow it's not 32 minutes because it's 32 minutes. It's 10 minutes.
You know what? Everybody's thinking it that's listening. We might as well say
we don't
it.
care.
Sue's not here, and we go to hell in a handbasket.
Dun 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 dun. Let's
That's
just
what's
say
happening.
we're playing this game here.
All right.
Mark. There you go, George.
All right. For those of you who are listening and wondering what The Price is Wrong, Mark, is it's a show that we play. It's where these are real items, okay? These are real items. You can really purchase these in the St. Louis area. They're on Craigslist or on Facebook Marketplace, things like that. So you can really purchase these. If you're listening, you're thinking, man, I got to have that. It's totally available. So here we go. Here it comes from the beautiful downtown studio of the Mark Reardon Show. It's The Price is Wrong, Mark. All right, we're going to kick things off by saying, hi, Mama May. Hi, Judy Reardon. And, of course, big shout-outs to my Uncle Greg, Aunt Doris, and the one and only Rockaroo. Okay, here we go. First item up for bids on The Price is Wrong, Mark. Now, I'm going to read the items.
Okay.
And then if it's capitalized, I have to shout it.
Of course.
Okay? And then you guys are all going to bid. And then whoever gets closest without going over gets a point. The person at the end wins a fabulous no case. Okay, first item up for bids on The Price is Wrong. Crapshoot, killer new outdoor game with toilet. I repeat, crapshoot, killer new outdoor game with toilet. And here we go. Hey there, me and a couple of friends have developed a fun all-weather day and night addictive game called Crapshoot. Guys and girls, young and ancient, are all encouraged to check out what you need to set up your own backyard game of luck and skill. It's basically quite simple and not too expensive. The object of the game is to throw 30 flying discs 25 feet into a standard-sized toilet oval, not round, not elongated. This one who gets the most discs in the toilet wins. Can be played by many players. It's great. Little wager, perhaps. Goes great with backyard barbecues and parties. Cornhole doesn't even come close to this at all. So this is an amazing game. If you could see the pictures at home, if you could click on the site, it's actually a toilet that somebody then painted on. So and then you're going to throw discs into a toilet in your backyard. Oh, think how excited the neighbors will be when they see you set that up. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start with what says it's got Mark first. You know why it says Mark first? Because Fred wrote this down.
That's
so, Mark,
right.
you're going first.
$35, George.
$35 to put a toilet in your backyard.
That's right.
Okay, and then Fred?
Toilets are expensive. I'm going to go $70.
$70. He's really okay. Here we go. And Ethan?
I'm going to go. Oh man, this is tough. I'm going to go $34.
$34.
Yes, thank you for
doesn't
doing that.
know how the Price is Right works.
That you did that, but it's submitted.
Oh,
No, he can't. He's already done it.
Got it mixed up. Oops.
So, yes, you did. It happens all the time on The Price is Right. God bless people. You know, when you're at home in your underpants eating Cheerios, yelling at the TV, it's easy. But people will go there and somebody will go, 500, and the next person will go, 499.
Yeah.
And it's not until they get home and they go, why? Why? Okay, so we got 35, 70, 34 by the rookie Ethan. And the actual price to buy a used toilet with spray paint on it and put it in your front yard, $300.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay.
Ethan, it wouldn't have mattered.
That's why I'm like, whew,
it
all right,
wouldn't
it
have
didn't hurt
mattered.
me. All right.
Fred wins round one.
Wow. Okay, here we go. Next item up for bids. Gigantic framed art angel print with hamburger thoughts. This painting is absolutely huge. It's 56 inches long, 1 inch thick, and 40 inches tall. It's a great addition to any living room or dining room. You'll be the talk of the neighborhood with this beauty hanging in your house. Think of that. You get the toilet in the front yard. You get this in your patio. Oh, my God. So basically, it's the angels, and they're staring up and looking at a badly drawn hamburger and fries.
Can I ask a question?
I wish
for
you
a
would.
Point of clarification.
I wish you would.
Was this piece in the Louvre 10 days ago?
If it was ripped out on purpose.
Okay, all right, good enough.
Okay, so here we go. We're going to start with Fred. What would you bid for this fabulous classical piece of art?
$25.
$25. Ethan, going to go 24?
No, I'm not gonna go with 24 this time. I'm gonna go with 35.
$35. Mark, it's up to you. This is a fine painting.
$36. George.
$36. That's how you do it, kid. Actual price. $50.
Yeah. All
Mark
right.
wins
There
one.
we go.
Oh,
I could have
beautiful.
$1 it too, but I don't know. There was something about that painting that seemed pretty darn enticing.
Okay, so we got Fred 1, Mark 1, Ethan. All right. Now, this one, I really wish you could see it. I may show it to you guys, but I'm going to read it first.
Okay.
SpongeBob SquarePants nightstand. SpongeBob SquarePants nightstand. Fun, right? I mean, the kids will love it, right? It's just a delight. And here we go. If you're... Oh, I have to read it like they wrote it. If your kid likes SpongeBob. If your kid likes SpongeBob. So that's not kids. If your kid likes SpongeBob, this nightstand is for you. This antique has been transformed by me into everyone's favorite yellow sponge. My son didn't care for it. He told me it scared him. But I think he just outgrew his love of cartoons. Don't pass up this one-of-a-kind item. Okay, you know what? I'm going to fold away the price so you can see it.
Okay.
I just want you to see that kid
Wow.
was right. I don't care if you're young or old.
That's pretty cool.
This will scare the bejesus out of you. Basically, if you're listening, you know what SpongeBob looks like, right? It's a nightstand that he's got the teeth in it, and it basically looks like a horrible monster is going to eat your child. That's what this looks like.
It really does.
I kind of like it, but I see that it could be, a little horrifying and traumatic for children.
All right,
That's what I'd say.
duly noted. Well, then you can show that in your price. So, Ethan, what would you like to bid for this fabulous piece of custom art?
There's man, with a description like that, you've got to be crazy enough to try and get a decent deal out of it. I'm going to say $45.
$45. Looking for his first win of the day. Mark.
$60, George.
$60, because Mark likes that.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder what Becky would say.
I'm willing to
Would
pay,
she
though.
allow that if you had the toilet, the art in the in the dining room, and then this in the kids' bedroom? How would that go?
That's the trifecta. I think she'd approve. for
Okay.
sure.
Okay. Well, you'd be hugging yourself a lot.
Yes, I would.
And Fred,
I want to go with $1.
$1
Ooh, Fred,
actual
$1
price
does.
for the fabulous SpongeBob item. $200.
What is going on?
I know, right?
You know what? It's the economy. Tariffs, am I right?
I think you must be.
Okay, yeah, $200. Mark, that's 2 for you.
Yes, it is.
1 for Fred. Ethan, crickets.
Yep.
All right, we've got 2 more items. Were you good, Mark?
Oh, yeah, we're
okay,
good.
here we go. Next item, cursed toaster oven. I repeat, cursed toaster oven. Only used 3 times. I didn't believe this curse until I lived it myself. Everything you put comes out smelling like fish. And not just fish, sometimes shark, eel, and even octopus. You ever have a fishy sandwich? It's rank, right? Well, get this today and give it to someone you absolutely hate. They'll never see the curse coming. He has a photo of the toaster oven, and his foot is in the toaster oven. I'm not making this up. It's a picture of the toaster oven, and he just has a socked foot that he put in the toaster oven.
Okay, I give him points for creativity on this one.
Yep, you got to say. So now we're going back to Mark. What would you bid for a cursed toaster oven? I think the idea being that you don't use it for yourself, you give it to somebody you hate.
$15, George.
$15 for a cursed toaster oven. Fred?
$20.
$20. Okay. Ethan, you seem like you like a good fish sandwich. What would you say?
I've learned my lesson, George. $1.
$1.
You could have gone in another direction too, But go
I
ahead.
could've.
Let's see what happens
Okay,
here.
we've got 15, we got 20, we got $1. Oh wait, that is the lamest bell of it.
No.
There you go.
Oh.
Somebody got the bid right on the nose. It's $20, Fred.
Hey, all right.
Wow, look at that.
Nice.
Putting up a clinic.
Mark, I've
It's
got
2
your
to
Christmas
2.
present. I've got
It
your
is
Christmas
2 to
present.
2 here.
Amazing.
nice.
So
Okay.
we've got 2, 2, and 0. But this last one,
Remind me who has 0. I couldn't remember. Oh, that's Ethan. That's right. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got 2, 2. We've got no points, but luckily this last one is worth 47 points. So it's anybody's game now. All right. And we saved the best item for last. This one is truly a gem. If you're listening, I want to shake your hand, whoever this person is. I want to know you. I want to swim in your pool. I want to drink a beer with you. Here we go. 1999 Toyota Corolla, fine AF. 1999 Toyota Corolla, fine AF.
I love that.
If you don't know what AF is, ask one of your kids.
Yes.
Okay.
Fred's got nothing.
Yeah, I got
Fred is
nothing.
Wait,
lost.
come on, Fred. Really?
No.
As, and then there's a word that I use a lot.
You don't know what AF stands
Oh,
for.
Okay.
yes. Okay, now we know. One of my favorite words.
Oh, Fred, put down your pipe and cardigan. Come to the party. Here we go. Okay, here we go. You want a car that gets the job done? You want a car that's hassle-free? You want a car that literally no one will ever compliment you on? Well, look no further. It's the 1999 Toyota Corolla. Let's talk about features. Bluetooth? Nope. Sunroof? Nope. Fancy wheels? Nope. Rear view camera? Nope. But it's got a transparent rear window, and you have a blanking neck that can turn.
Yes. I love this.
Let me tell you a story. One day my Corolla started making a strange sound. I didn't give a crap about it and ignored it. It went away. The end. This car will outlive you. It will outlive your children. This car's got history. It's seen some stuff. People have done strange things in this car. It's not going to judge you like a Volkswagen would. You want to know more? Great. I had my car fill out a Facebook survey. Favorite food? Spaghetti. Favorite TV show? Alf. Favorite band? Tie Between Bush and the Gin Blossoms. Let's face facts. This car isn't going to win any beauty contest, but neither are you. Stop lying to yourself and stop lying to your wife. This isn't the car you want. It's the car you deserve. The blanking 1999 Toyota Corolla.
We've done this game for 4.5 years now. That might be the best item that we've ever had. That guy is, I mean, what does this person do in real life? Because if they're that creative, my goodness.
Yes, if you need a car, buy it from this person.
I love this guy.
Because this
or
person
woman.
obviously is, you know what? It's a writer, whoever it is, male or female, this is a writer. Okay, so it's fine AF, and now that Fred actually knows what AF means.
Fine is Fred.
Right.
Fine
That's it.
Fred.
You got a bid, Fred?
Okay, so let's see. We start with you, Fred, right? Yeah.
$3,000.
$3,000.
I mean, we're bidding on a car. Aren't
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
It's 99.
And it's fine. It won't judge you like a Volkswagen would.
That's one of my favorite lines.
Okay, Ethan, what would you bid on this car?
I'm going to go with $1,000.
$1,000. Okay, and Mark.
I'm going to say $1, George.
$1 for
risky,
the car.
but I'm going to say $1.
It is extremely risky. Okay, so we've got $3,000, $1,000, $1. This is for all the horse apples. The Toyota Corolla Fine AF is ding, 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 ding. Somebody got the bid right on the nose.
I don't think it's me.
The kid sharking from nowhere. $1,000. Ethan takes home the prize in the 18th inning.
Just when I was down and out, they pulled me right back in.
Unbelievable.
Out of nowhere.
We will award the no case. That's so ridiculous that he gets one right. Coming up.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
So things are slow going if you're on 270 on your southbound side. It's kind of heavy going from Page down to 44. Your northbound side from 64 to Olive. 70 westbound slow. 170 through the airport. Eastbound side over the river to 270. 170 over to Lucas Hunt. 170 southbound slows from Olive down to 64, but the crash is gone in that area. Northbound side slows from Forest Park Parkway up to Olive. 64 westbound slow spots from Kings Highway to 270 through Chesterfield and 364 to 70. Eastbound side slow McKnight to Big Bend, then heavy Jefferson onto the Poplar Street Bridge. And you got your 55 delays southbound from Arsenal down to Bates through the work zone. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk in St. Louis for 25 years this month. Thanks for being a part of a quarter century of engaging local talk. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
This report is sponsored by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are now open for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Enter now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
You know, we're kind of on a nice roll here with Wall Street. I just checked the Dow up 161 points today, but let me guide you into the team at the Retirement Advisory Group, because if you do not have a plan for retirement, you're putting off some things that are very, very important right now. And Thomas and the team would love to sit down with you. There's no obligation whatsoever. Now, of course, we do seminars with the team at the Retirement Advisory Group. We've wrapped them for this year. We'll pick them up again in 2026. But if you go online to retirementkey.com, you'll see right on the front page it says check back later to see upcoming events. Ignore that and just press register anyway. That'll take you to a page where you can sign up and go in one-on-one to the office. You get a copy of their latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Now, do us a huge favor. Tell them you heard about it here on 97.1 FM Talk. You can always pick up the phone and call 314-993-9494. The key is linking and safely linking to the market, and Thomas and the team will walk you through all that. If you have a connection, and I think you will, you might want to move forward. But again, no obligation whatsoever. Call for your appointment today. Head on in. Make this something on your to-do list here before the year wraps. 314-993-9494. Online, retirementkey.com.
Stop just trying to paint and patch up the outside of your home. It's time to give it a permanent upgrade with James Hardie Fiber Cement Siding from Lakeside Renovation and Design. This siding is designed to stand up to all the crazy weather we get here in Missouri, and it looks fantastic. Lakeside is a James Hardie Elite Preferred Contractor. Whole team, by the way, is in-house, and they're going to take care of all the details, the color, the trim, everything to customize it to your home, to take the stress off of your plate. If your home is showing any signs of wear, it's time to take the next step. Visit lakesiderd.com.
Celebrate the spooky season with Zero Res and get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129. You can take 15% off your air duct and dryer vent cleanings. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of the saving.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Sponsored by Progressive. We make the claims process easy so you can get back on the road in no time. It's why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive. See for yourself at progressive.com.
This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
It's just ridiculous that Ethan wins this thing like with one final
He
lucky
was
guess.
sandbagging the whole time. He crushed it.
He did. Great game here this afternoon, Ethan.
The price is wrong.
Mark, I still want to know what happened to our theme song. It just completely disappeared. Would you like to award the no case this afternoon, George Gray?
I would love to, Ethan. You've won a fabulous no case. Your no price showcase begins with a rare tour of the East Wing of the White House. I'm sorry, what? You say it again? Oh, nope, that's been canceled. Instead, you're going to tour the historic Capitol building. Huh, what? Oh, yeah, no, that's been put on hold. Okay. You know what? Let's get out of D.C. and fly to New York City to witness mayoral candidate Zoran Mondami tell police that he really loves them. Wait, our flight has been delayed due to a lack of air traffic controllers. So let's take a train out to the west coast of L.A., where Game 3 of the World Series is still underway.
Oh, yeah.
Here's your chance to see Ohtani tour the bases 3 times after hitting his 3rd home run in 3 games of the World Series. Wait, actually, we've just been getting a report. The Blue Jays walked him 5 times in a row after his 2nd home run. If you can get yourself back to St. Louis, then you'll enjoy an exclusive VIP tour to our 97.1 25th anniversary birthday bash.
Nice.
Wait, that was last week. Okay, thank you very much for paying attention to the Price is Wrong, Mark. Love you, Mama May. Love you, Judy.
That was awesome. Thank you, George Gray. Thank you for doing it without the theme song, which still is mysteriously disappeared.
It
Ethan,
doesn't feel the same.
Congratulations, but we always do like to catch up with you. First of all, I do want to say on the birthday front, and George did a couple of greetings, an audio one that we've played. We've been playing a lot of folks during the breaks, but you did a video one on set at The Price is Right. That was so cool because it was you, and then you turned the camera on the studio audience. You got them involved. That was awesome. Thank you so much for doing that.
The studio audience is amazing. If you're listening and you ever have thought it would be fun, if you're coming out to Los Angeles, get tickets online and come see the show. You will have an absolute blast. First of all, you got a great shot at getting picked, but also we have so much fun in that studio, and Drew and I stay out during the commercial breaks, and that's where really a lot of the fun happens because Drew will just talk to everybody and, where you from, what are you doing, and we joke around, we improv. It's a really good time.
So are you on hiatus right now? Are you approaching that for the year?
If we're not, I just got fired because I'm supposed to be shooting.
But you
today.
still have some shooting still to do before the end of the year.
Yes, our production schedule has been pretty aggressive, and we shoot again it's next Wednesday. Not bad. So I came to see Mama May, and then I'm going back to L.A. to throw my legendary Halloween soiree, which is epic in nature.
You know what I just remembered?
What?
last year, didn't I say to you, George, I'm coming to that damn party next year?
You should have.
I did say that, and I
you
screwed
should
it up.
have. You should. There's a lot going on. It is a party for the days.
How did I let that?
You're off Friday. You could just.
I might just zip out there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Can I
that's-
borrow the note case,
Well,
Ethan?
between the toilet and the picture frame and the SpongeBob, and
I'm
then
broke.
you telling Becky you're leaving.
Yeah, no,
good luck with all that.
Exactly.
So we are actually, going to be on hiatus after, at Christmas, and then I don't work again until August. So prepare to see me here. With ridiculously colored soul patches and a lot of schlaflies in my belly.
Are you August? What happened?
No, we've just been shooting so much. We've been shooting the schedule super aggressively. So instead of shooting until April, because we do 195 episodes a year.
Okay.
That's how many we make.
Right.
And it doesn't matter how long we take to make them. So normally it takes until April, but we've been shooting so much, we're going to be done before Christmas.
You suck. Just when I thought your job couldn't get better, it got better.
What does one do with 8 months of not having to work?
Well, I'll probably be in the police blotter. You'll be reading about me on Ethan's News. It'll happen.
That is really something, though. I mean, I think I can answer this question. I believe it's rhetorical. Have you ever had a break that long?
No.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be nice. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
So-
I would. Well, maybe we'll have a baseball team for you to come in
Hey,
and
you
see
know what? It
next
could
year.
happen.
I
Who
know.
knows? Well, let's go out and get a
How
team.
about some travel, George? Have you done any travel lately?
International
travel.
Here crosses. No, I haven't gone international because we've been shooting so
Yeah.
much. But I do have to tell you, if you're listening and you like the Halloween episodes, it's kind of neat because this week on Friday is Halloween. Doesn't always happen that way. So CBS decided to air 4 really popular Halloween episodes every day. So it was from 2019, 2022, 3, 4. So today was 2023. Tomorrow's 2024, I guess.
And then the new one.
No, I'm sorry. Today was 21, and then the new one's going to be on Friday.
Yeah.
Yes, and I won't give it away, but I'll just say you'll never want to eat cotton candy again.
Okay, good enough.
It's really fun. So they're really, really fun episodes.
Awesome. Well, listen, now I'm pissed off at myself for not keeping
For
my
losing
promise
to
go.
Ethan?
Well, for losing and not going to your party because I just flashed back to that text because I know it's funny because I was sitting here. I sit here with my iPad every day, and I have this. If you have Apple products, your photo roll kind of, and the one the other day that came up, and this was the last time I saw you in LA. It was 2019. I was there for the Irishman junket. You picked me up in that fancy red car. Can't remember which one, the convertible, and we drove up to your place. That was the first time I think I got to see your house and
okay.
the cats and all that stuff. It was a
Right.
lot of fun, and we hung out. But that was 6 years ago. I can't even believe it's been that
you know,
long.
see, you're due.
I know.
You're due.
I'm overdue. Have fun at the party, and we'll see you soon enough.
Love it.
Thank you,
Stay
George
safe.
Gray. We appreciate it.
Love you, St. Louis.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
So 170's gotten pretty bad. It just recovered from a crash a little further southbound, but now we've got a new one southbound. So it's making things heavy from St. Charles Rock Road down to just before Page. We've got a crash in the 2 left lanes, it's looking like. And then you're slow down to 64 from there. Northbound side slows from Forest Park Parkway to past Page. And you've got 64 problems westbound from Kings Highway over to 270 in pockets, and then Chesterfield through that area, and 364 over to 70. Eastbound side slows McKnight to Big Bend, and then heavy Jefferson onto the Poplar Street Bridge. 55 southbound, heavy from Arsenal down to Bates, and we've got 270 northbound delays from 64 to Olive, southbound from Page down to 44. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Let's talk a little St. Louis real estate here. Mark Ehlmann was a great guest. He always touches base, either Mark or Neil, with the Ehlmann team to just kind of review the St. Louis market and where we are and what your expectations might be if you're going to put your home on the market. I would always start with the great tool that they have up on their website. If you go to thegelmanteam.com, you will see a tool, a piece of software that they invested in that says, what is the real current value of your home? Thinking about selling, find your home or condo's value in today's market for free. And all you have to do is enter your address, a pop-up comes up, and they're not going to, here's what I'll tell you at the Ehlmann team, they won't sell your information. So if you put your information in there, they will keep your information. If you need their help, you know, the staff is amazing. It really is a team. They'll guide you through a process that could be very, very stressful, but they've excelled in this over the decades here in St. Louis. So check out the website, which is a great way to get started. And if you need the Gelman's help, 314-336-1991. The website, thegelmanteam.com. That's thegelmanteam.com. Let Banner Construction show you what a difference James Hardy can make to your home. Banner's exterior design team will show you custom design options to transform your home into the neighborhood showplace. Banner is a preferred James Hardy and Pella window specialist. With winter just around the corner, now is the time to think about Pella windows for energy efficiency and comfort. Call Banner Construction, 314-569-1050 to schedule your free in-home consultation, or the website bannerconstruction.com, and have a banner day.
Setting goals for your retirement is one thing, but knowing how to achieve those goals is another.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different.
For tips on building a better nest egg, listen to the All Financial Hour with Steve All, Saturday mornings at 6, here on 97.1 FM Talk.
You can also visit yourmoneymattersstl.com for more details.
For Veterans Day, Hanson's Tree Service is taking action. Mark Cox here. Every year, they honor local veterans through Operation SOS, serving our soldiers. It's a once-a-year program to provide free professional tree care to a few deserving veterans or military families. Nominate your hero veteran today at hansonstree.com. Hanson's Tree Service serves our soldiers with the same care and dedication they've shown our country. Go online today to hansonstree.com.
Scott, can you believe it's already been more than a decade since the Queen of Carpets sold flooring to St. Louis area contractors?
I know, but I don't have to be a king to offer contractors today's lowest prices.
Yes, contractors owe it to their customers and themselves to shop at Best Buy Flooring for the largest in-stock selection of carpet, carpet tile, sheet vinyl, laminate, hardwood, luxury vinyl plank, and luxury vinyl tile.
Plus 3 convenient locations, North County, South County, and Metro East.
Open 7 days a week.
Best flooring, best selection, Best Buy. Best Buy Flooring.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need, while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
The ceasefire tested. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The Israeli military carrying out a series of airstrikes inside Gaza after Hamas attacked a group of Israeli soldiers near the city of Rafah.
A military source telling Fox News Hamas violated the ceasefire by shooting at troops beyond the yellow line in an area controlled by Israel. Following that incident, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu held a high-level security consultation before ordering immediate and powerful strikes in the Gaza Strip. Earlier this month, 2 Israeli soldiers were killed in southern Gaza during the first major violation by Hamas of the agreement. Hamas was set to release the body of an additional hostage tonight, one of 13 that remain inside the enclave. The group's Al-Qassam brigades released a statement last hour of their own, saying the transfer would not take place due to what they claim are Israeli violations to the agreement.
Fox's Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv. With the government shutdown now nearly a month old, Vice President J.D. Vance says some federal programs will continue.
We are trying as much as possible to ensure that critical food benefits get paid, that our military gets paid. But you know what would make this really easy? If the Democrats just opened up the government, then we wouldn't have to play this game.
Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer exasperated that President Trump has not taken part in negotiations.
You can't make this stuff up. His number one priority is his ballroom when people are suffering. What kind of president is this?
The president is in Asia for a summit and is expected to meet with China's President Xi Jinping this week to try to work out a trade deal. The Senate failed again today to pass a short-term funding bill. And the Senate also failed to pass a measure that would have made daylight saving time permanent. Wall Street, all 3 major indexes hit records ahead of tomorrow's decision on interest rates from the Federal Reserve. The Dow plus 162, the NASDAQ gained 190. America is listening to Fox News.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month. LifeLock is here with tips to help protect your identity. Use strong passwords, set up multi-factor authentication, report scams, and update your software. And for comprehensive identity protection, LifeLock is your best choice. LifeLock alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal information and fixes identity theft, guaranteed, or your money back. Start your protection today with a 30-day free trial at lifelock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
What we see is what we get for evening plans and overnight into Wednesday morning. Cloudy periods of rain, breezy. We'll go down to about 45 degrees. Quite nippy to be out and about, and you'll need the umbrella this evening. Wednesday, morning showers up until about midday. Cloudy, windy, and chilly, 53. Wednesday night, partly cloudy and cold, 42. Thursday, dry it out, sunshine and chilly. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Well, we have no Sue Thomas today. She took today off for some personal business. She was actually doing some philanthropic work here in the community, so we're very proud of Sue. Plus, I think she got to take it off without taking a vacation day and taking advantage of Odyssey policy. At the bottom of the hour, Max Raskin is going to join. I love this story from New Jersey where they have this governor's race, but they still have... This is unreal that this is in America. They have gas station socialism in New Jersey. Like, you're not allowed to pump your own gas, and it's the most bizarre thing. And both of the candidates, both the Republican and the Democrats, still are supporting that. But Max wrote about it, and he's going to join us. He wrote about it in the Free Press today. Steve Ehlmann is with us in the studio this afternoon. He is the current St. Charles County executive. We thought he was on his way out. He had decided to not run for re-election. You have changed your mind, Steve, as so often politicians do. How are you this afternoon?
I'm fine, Mark. You?
I'm doing okay. I'm
Good.
really doing well, although I miss Sue.
Tell her I said hi when she gets back.
When we don't have the show that is complete, we kind of miss one another, and I'm taking a couple of days off this week as well. This was, as I called this earlier, probably the worst-kept secret in all of Missouri politics that Steve Ehlmann was going to get back into this race. This has kind of been bubbling for a little while. Would you like to explain why you're running for re-election? And this would be an election that's going to take place a year from now, right?
Yeah, I guess it's a lot. The most important thing is it's kind of a changed political landscape now compared to what it was 3 years ago when I thought, hey, enough is enough. And, a lot of people talk about polls. The most important poll for me is the one we do every 10 years when they do the census.
Mm-hmm.
And the last
See
census,
the growth in St. Charles County?
The last census, the region grew 1.3%. St. Charles County grew 13%.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it?
So people are voting with their feet. Now, certainly I can't take credit for all of that, but I've been working with our mayors, with our county council, with the business community in St. Charles County to make that an attractive place to raise your kids and to have a job. And, every year they update the numbers and we continue to grow. So I think that's very encouraging. And I'll kind of start there. But when I look 3 years ago, I had Biden in the White House. I had people in Jefferson City that were making it difficult for me to get anything done for the county up there. And most importantly, I had to go down to East-West Gateway and work on regional issues and fight with Tashara Jones and Megan Green.
Yeah,
and
God bless you just for surviving that, right?
It was not any fun, and it wasn't easy, and I usually ended up, I bet I lost 15 votes on a straight party line vote.
That many?
Yeah. I mean, Yeah, there's a lot of really crazy
I'd wear that
stuff
as a
going
badge
on.
of honor, Steve, personally.
I do. So anyway, now I got a man in the White House that's changing a lot of the rules when it comes to transportation, which is why we go down the East-West Gateway. I've got a governor in the Jeff City who grew up in St. Louis. He knows our problems. He's going to work and try to fix some of the problems here in the region. I got 2 senators who are working to actually get things done. I got a good delegation in the House. And most importantly, I guess, is I also have a new mayor in the city of St. Louis. We're not going to agree on everything. But I think the 2 issues I care most about, which is law enforcement in the airport, I think she's somebody that will work with me, and we can actually move the ball down the field. I'm more optimistic about chances of doing things regionally now than I've been in the last 20 years.
Have you had, just because you brought up Mayor Spencer, have you had a chance recently? Because I can't even imagine, she takes office and then boom, the tornado hits and it's been overwhelming. I have no criticism of Kara because one of the things I like is that when we have national political issues that are out there, they're not blasting out news releases from City Hall. She's focusing, and we kind of knew she would be, on the city of St. Louis and not national politics.
Yes, I spoke with her several times during the election for her and afterwards, and it's a shame that she's had to concentrate on the tornado. But if I can tell a story, at the last East-West Gateway meeting, there's a Ryan McClure who's with the Arch to Park project. He came down and talked to us about the fact that they want to put a bigger lid over I-70.
Really?
Like they already have.
I'd not even heard that.
Yeah, well, it's out there.
But
it's
why?
Be I don't know. It's a good question. I've got a lot of questions about it. But the first question I had for him is, well, are you going to try to get federal money?
Right.
And he said, well, we haven't yet, but yeah, we're going to go and we're going to talk to our delegation in Washington. We're going to try to get more money for this. And I asked Sam Page, who was presiding. I said, Mr. Chairman, can I inquire the mayor? And she yielded for a question. And I said, Mayor, let me just ask you this. If we could go to Washington and get this park completely paid for with federal dollars, would you consider naming it the Donald J. Trump Park?
You asked that? You troublemaker, Steve Ehlmann. What was the reaction to
well,
that?
She didn't know me that well, and for a split second, she thought I was serious.
Yeah.
And of course, everybody else started laughing, and I started laughing. And I said, just think about it. You don't need to answer.
That's pretty
right
good.
now.
That is pretty good. But you've kind of caught me off guard here with this whole lid thing. I've never heard anyone discussing that. Because obviously for those people who have not been around St. Louis, the arch renovation used to have, and Sue, when she does traffic, she talks about what's called the depressed section, right? That confuses people who aren't from St. Louis. Yes. But it's the area that goes underneath where the arch is. And for the longest time, that was not covered by what we refer to as a lid. When they did the arch renovations, that was part of it. But why would you want to expand the lid?
I don't know.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to. I was opposed opposed to what they've done already, not because it was a bad idea. I thought it was a good idea, but they should have used tourism dollars, not transportation dollars.
Yeah, I see.
That's transportation dollars should be spent putting more lanes on I-70 in St. Charles.
Right.
Instead, we used it for the lid. Same thing with the loop trolley. I mean, I voted against the loop trolley.
Oh my God, Steve, the loop trolley.
Not because I thought it was a bad idea.
It was.
If you're going to do it, use tourism dollars.
Right.
Don't use transportation dollars.
So then, when it comes to the problem, man, I have gone a couple of weeks now in the last 5 weeks to Columbia for football games, and it had been a little bit since I'd been on the road through 6440 to I-70 and then the rest of what's going on. I had seen a lot of the construction on the I-70 expansion that was closer to mid-Missouri, past Fulton, if you will, or 54. But I mean, you got a lot going on right now in St. Charles County on this project, right?
Yeah, we do. And this week they were going to start cutting down trees so they can do the actual railroad bridge. I called them a couple weeks ago because they were working on everything but the railroad bridge. And I said, what's the problem?
Yeah.
You know what the problem was?
No.
They had to wait till October 15th to cut down trees because they didn't want to interfere with the breeding habits of the Indiana bat.
You have got to be kidding me.
No, I am not kidding you.
See, this is the kind of stuff.
If I had the president's ear, that would be that would be one thing I'd tell him. Hey, go fix that.
Is the bat okay? It's unreal. I mentioned this earlier on the show, and you are exposed to this all the time. And I don't mean to be repetitive. But I have this little, if Sue is here, she'd be making fun of me. I have this little project that is near my home in St. Louis County. I live kind of on the border of Jeffco and St. Louis County. It's out near 141 and 44. Paradise Valley Golf Course is back there, and I live across from that. So there's this little road called Hillsborough Road. We call it Twisty Turny. Well, they've had the damn thing closed down since. It's a disaster. Valley Park has screwed this up, and we're all thousands of people inconvenienced, not just me. But I bring it up because I was poking around in the spring and I wanted to know how the money was being spent, right? So the guy, Nathan from Valley Park, who's been relatively receptive, he sends me the contracts, all this stuff. And I start making the mistake of reading through this language, Steve, and the boxes, the DEI stuff, the minority contract, all the, I don't know how you get any project off the ground. When I read, I'll tell you who does well, the damn lawyers. It's the lawyers who are winning here because they have to write up all that language, and then people are supposed to interpret it and hire accordingly, right?
The equity thing at East-West Gateway has been my biggest headache, okay? I'm for equal opportunity, but I think one person driving in a car is equal to another person driving in a car. Well, during the Biden years, they actually had, in their DEI stuff, we had to look at how we treat communities of people, not individuals. And we had to have equal results for disadvantaged neighborhoods.
Right, of course you did.
Okay?
Yeah.
And of course, all this stuff, it's just the thing I'm most proud about being American and what we've achieved in the last generation or two is creating a meritocracy, okay, where people like me, whose parents were not well educated, could get a good education and could move forward and based on merit. But what are we doing now? We are actually sending more money to the city because back in 1960 they built I-44 through the Ville and they destroyed that neighborhood. So we now owe them some kind of reparations based on transportation dollars for what happened back then.
That's what we're hearing.
It's crazy.
Right? Yeah, it is. So let's get back to Steve Ehlmann is here. He's the St. Charles County executive. He announced today that he is re-entering the race. And here is, we got to be a little honest here about some of this stuff because I call balls and strikes. But former State Senator Bill Eigel, who I think it would be an understatement to say is a bit of a rabble-rouser, right? Had some moments in Jeff City that were interesting the past few years. He is running in this race for St. Louis County executive. So St. Charles County executive. So he issues a statement saying St. Charles County needs bold conservative leadership to prevent the economic stagnation that has become standard with Steve Ehlmann in recent years. Property taxes have never been higher. Soulless apartment complexes are turning St. Charles into St. Louis City 2.0, and corporations are vying for natural resources for the data centers and getting rich off city-driven special tax abatements at the expense of the people. All the while, Steve Ehlmann has been sleeping, literally sleeping. That's what he says. Steve promised he would retire and let a new generation of energetic conservative leadership guide our country after he's held that office for more than 20 years. I intend to hold Steve to his commitment on retirement. And I guess he puts a picture in here of the meeting last night, which he claims you were sleeping.
Well, I can show you the text from my wife that I checked
at that very time.
At that time, and I was looking down at my phone. Yeah.
So what I've said,
but here, more importantly, Mark, taxes. We haven't raised property taxes in St. Charles County since I've been there, and we get zero property tax for our general fund. Only 5.6% of our total revenue comes from property taxes, and we were the only people in St. Charles County who actually froze the personal property taxes for
on
the
seniors,
last 3
right?
years.
Yeah. So where does the majority of the money come from then?
In our case, the majority of the money comes from sales taxes.
Okay.
And thank God we've had a great economy, and we continue to under our president now. And as long as we have a good economy, we don't need property taxes, and we'll keep looking for ways to get rid of the property taxes that we're doing now.
But if we're being honest here, one of the reasons you're getting into this race is because you don't want Bill Eigel to run St. Charles County. I mean, isn't that a fair assessment?
You may think that I couldn't possibly comment.
Why? I mean, that's what it is.
Because this is
Steve, come on. That's what I mean. I know Bill. We a lot of us know Bill, right? And one of the things that I said when I've made this comment a couple of times when there was a Twitter exchange with Senator Eigel a couple of years ago. Someone was like, "Give him hell, Bill." And I understand people want to fight, but what I said was, as long as I've known Bill, he has given him hell, right? But I don't know what he's actually accomplished. So he was an obstructionist in the Senate. I think that personally, I don't know much. I'm just a guy who talks on the radio. This is a little bit of a different skill set to run an entire county and be the executive. But, I mean, Mike Ehlmann was going to run for this race. He's now pulling out because he's going to defer to you. He always said that if you were going to be in the race. But that's a big reason, isn't it?
Well,
you can say, yes, Mark, you're right. You can just make some news here today. Come on, man.
It's. I'd like to talk about my qualifications and not start on the very first day criticizing. And, but the fact is there's a real difference in styles between Bill Eigel and myself. And there's conflicts all over the place in politics. I try to avoid conflicts with other Republicans. Bill seems to treasure conflicts with other Republicans. That gets him a lot of coverage,
a lot of attention.
I could get a lot of attention if I fought with our people on our council. We don't agree with everything all the time. And, of course, in St. Louis County, they fight all the time. And so a lot of people know a lot more about their council members and know a lot more about their county executive. But we tend to, even though we don't agree, we'll work things out and we'll come out and we'll be together. That's why the big difference here is I love conflict, but not with other Republicans. I enjoy the conflict we have with the progressive Democrats in the city that I've been talking about, who want to defund the police, who want to go ahead and give away transportation dollars based on race. So those are the people I'm been fighting and trying to avoid the inter-party fighting that's been going on elsewhere.
Well, let me ask those. Steve Ehlmann's here, St. Charles County Executive. One thing that I've heard from people outside of Bill Eigel, and he mentions it in the release, and I want your take on this. Look, I moved to St. Louis in 1979. I remember I had a friend of mine who worked at a little video store in St. Charles County. There's nothing there, right? You've seen the growth. People from this area have seen how much it's exploded over the years, and it's been enviable, I think, to the region in particular. But I have heard people say, look, one of the reasons that we love this area is because there's more of a rural feel to it. There is an opinion that because of the growth, there has been too many apartments and things like that moved in and perhaps destroyed some of the rural parts of St. Charles. I've heard that from people. What's your reaction to that? Because with growth, you have infrastructure issues, and then there's people that don't want as much growth because of the aesthetics, et cetera.
That is the second thing that you brought up about apartments. I've been around for 20 years, and St. Charles County has not approved an apartment complex in that entire time. There's too many apartments, I agree, but they've been approved by cities. They are in the
within
cities.
the county. Yeah.
If
That's
he
a
becomes
difference.
county executive, he's not going to be able to keep the cities from doing apartments, but we haven't been doing those apartments. He talked about data centers. Well, the data center controversy was the city of St. Charles.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Not St. Charles County. Okay, so there's things he may not like, but they're not going to be things that you can affect as the county executive.
Sounds like Zoran Mamdani in rent control in New York City. I mean, that's exactly, he's promising all these things that he simply can't do.
Well, the same thing was true of some of the things he tried to do in Jefferson City. I'm all for trying to do something about property taxes, but you can't affect property taxes by being county executive, except the small amount that we do. If you want to affect county property taxes in St. Charles County, run for a school board.
Yeah.
Run for the ambulance district. Run for a fire district, because those are the people who actually set the property tax rates.
We have a big one in Rockwood coming up next week, and it's Prop S, and it's a pretty significant. It's a 45-cent increase to the levy. I've made it clear, and I'll just say it again here. I'm voting for it because I have a 10-year-old daughter in Rockwood. I'm worried about teacher retention. It's a pretty big hike, right? So I've had neighbors who have approached me and said, look, and I've admitted, Steve, look, if I didn't have a child in the district right now, would I be supporting it? Maybe I wouldn't be, because I do think that there's resource allocation issues, et cetera. I'm most concerned about teacher retention. I love my daughter's school, and I've made the personal decision to vote for it. I'm not so sure it's going to pass, though, because there is that anti-tax sentiment out there.
Well, I used to be a teacher in Rockwood, so
I remember that. I do remember that. That's right.
I left there and went back to law school, and
So you were a teacher before you went to law school.
Ended up being a politician instead of an educator.
What were you teaching?
I was teaching history.
Okay.
Yeah, and coaching basketball.
I didn't know that. That's right. Look at that. All right. Well, listen. Thanks for coming in person. The race you're off and running, right? You'll have a primary in August, and then will there be a Democrat even on the ballot?
I don't know.
You don't care either, do you?
We'll see. No, I think the issue will be Decided in August.
How is our friend Kevin Killeen, who you swiped from Odyssey St. Louis and KMOX, and he's one of your press people?
He's doing great. He's great at what he does.
But you know what? We miss him, and I invoked his name. I was telling you this during the break. I really mean this, and you can share this with Kevin. We're losing some longtime media people here in St. Louis that really held, or at least in theory, were holding people's feet to the fire. Ready Not, obviously, what happened. Pertzborn, good people who've been, great members of the media for decades here in St. Louis, and that does not, sit well with me just because you have newbies that are coming in that just want to, have social media presence and not really do any investigative reporting.
Kevin is loved by his colleagues, but he's not loved by all the politicians in the region. I can tell you that.
Because
he does ask the tough questions, and he doesn't let you skirt it.
No, he doesn't.
He does the follow-up, too.
He's got that Kevin Killeen style. Steve Ehlmann, great to see you. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Mark.
All right, take care.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
A 270 on your northbound side, slow Manchester to Olive. Southbound side, heavy Page down to Doherty Ferry. 70 westbound, slows 367 to Lucas Hunt. Eastbound side over the river to 270, approaching 170. 170 southbound, heavy Olive to 64. Northbound, slow from Forest Park Parkway to Olive. 64 westbound, heavy Kings Highway to 270 through Chesterfield and 367 to 70. Eastbound side hits the brakes, 270 to Big Bend, then heavy from Jefferson onto the Poplar Street Bridge. 44 eastbound jam, Jefferson onto 64 or 264 with a crash working. It's reported anyway. At 55 southbound, heavy from Broadway down to Bates. This report is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Furnace funky?
Then make one call.
And Jerry Kelly will be there the very next day.
Call anytime, 8 to 8, 8 days a week.
And Jerry Kelly will fix your furnace or install a new one the very next day.
JerryKelly.com.
Susan Elward is a family practice attorney. She's a great sponsor of 97.1 and of this radio show, and she's there for you if you need her help. It might only be for something that's related to a marriage that already ended. In other words, you have things that happen in the aftermath of divorces, modifications to existing orders, child support changes, visitation, any kind of things along those lines, spousal support. They can handle that for you. She's got a ton of experience. She's got a brand new office, too, which is outstanding. It's in De Pere near 270 in Manchester. They just moved in May. Susan was on recently, and one of the questions I always ask her is, when should you reach out? I went through a divorce myself more than 2 decades ago. I've mentioned that I don't think I hired an attorney with enough experience. That was one of the mistakes that I made. But her advice is always reach out as soon as you can because you don't want to do things that could come back to haunt you. 314-783-9400, STL, FamilyLaw.com, the focus on family law, and the emphasis on you, Susan Elward.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group. Are you worried about market volatility? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw, and as a family-owned business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. We have a lot of folks that aren't aware of all the new investment choices that are available, which give you growth and protection from losses at the same time. Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying? We can show you how to avoid those fees. So come in now for your free retirement review and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We are proud to say we haven't lost a penny of our clients' money in 39 years, and we won't lose a penny of yours either. Let our family help your family. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Bold conversations, no apologies. The Mark Reardon Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
Audio cut of the day coming up. Also, Max Raskin, who is an adjunct professor at NYU. He caught my attention because he wrote today on the Free Press, FP.com, about the gas station socialism that still occurs in New Jersey. And I always find this to be fascinating, that we live in a country with all these freedoms. And one of the reasons, and I've said this over the years, I love Missouri. And I've lived in Illinois, I've lived in the People's Republic of Wisconsin, and I've lived here in Missouri longer than any other place. I moved here when I was 14, went to Mizzou, stayed in Columbia, went to Wisconsin, came back in 2006. I love being a Missourian because I love freedom. I love the fact that we don't get into, for the most part, this has changed just a little bit, into the nanny state nonsense that Illinois has and California and all these left-wing states. So I appreciate freedom. I think that we can do things responsibly. I'm a little bit more libertarian conservative in that particular area, but I love the fact that that we do have so many freedoms, and I think that there is a couple of things that happen in this country, and I mentioned my time in Wisconsin, that are just so opposite of what freedom in America should be. And that situation, New Jersey certainly represents that. And we'll get into that with Max here in just a couple of minutes. This is an interesting story. I haven't really talked about this today. We thought about getting Chris Clem on the show, who is a former Border Patrol agent in the Yuma sector of Arizona. Chris is awesome. He's really a good expert on this. But this was one of the stories, and I'm not sure if people have heard about it today, that there was a big shakeup with the leadership at Immigration and Customs Enforcement. A lot of people who were in the leadership have been removed. The current official, according to you always have to kind of wonder about an Associated Press story, but the AP says the current official, who is not authorized to speak publicly on the matter and spoke on the condition of anonymity, said 12 ICE field office directors, the officers who run the network of field offices around the country responsible for immigration enforcement, were being reassigned. So here's Tom Homan, who's running ICE. Here's what he says.
Look, personnel changes happens a lot. These are changes being, I'm not sure if they've actually been in place, and I'm not sure how many this is affecting, but Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, has total authority over ICE and who serves in what positions. So, I think the results speak for themselves. I think that we're not going to be slowed down by any story about changes in leadership. I can tell you that Trump administration is dedicated to achieving a record deportation, vast majority being criminal aliens, making this country safer every day. But as far as personnel changes, that's under the purview of the Secretary of Homeland Security.
So you have 25 field offices around the country. That's about half of the top staffers that were, carrying out the instructions from the president. Look, I'm with Tom Homan. You got people out there that, aren't responding to the orders, and maybe you were there from a previous administration and you're not on board with what's happening right now. Well, then, bye-bye.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, we'll see if we get Trent here. I don't know if he paid attention to the fact that we're on here. Trent, are you there?
We've got delays out there. If you're traveling on 270 on your southbound side, it's going to be slow going from Page to Doherty Ferry. Northbound side from Manchester to Olive. 70 westbound slow, 367 to Lucas Hunt. Eastbound side over the river to 270 and approaching 170. 170 heavy southbound from Olive to 64. Your northbound side from Forest Park Parkway up to Olive. And then we've got 64 westbound Kings Highway to 270 slow through Chesterfield. Then you get a 364 to 70. Eastbound side slow from 270 to Big Bend. Then heavy from Jefferson onto the Poplar Street Bridge. And 55 southbound heavy from Broadway down to Bates. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
All right, thank you, Trent. Sue will be back tomorrow. She's just taking a day off. She had a little MC gig that she had to take care of today. Let's talk about Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. Now, as we head into the winter, look, we hope, we're getting some chilly temperatures. We hope that ice and things related to ice are at least a month off. We sometimes get into situations like that, certainly in December. And if you look back at the past winters in particular, ice has been a little bit more of an issue than snow. Ice takes power lines down, right? That might leave you in a situation that's not very comfortable at home. And I want to guide you into a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. So if you've ever had an inclination to look in, maybe you've heard your neighbors power up a gas generator. These are not portable generators. These are energy independent, high quality generators that use propane or natural gas. When the power goes out at your house, it kicks right back in. And Generator Supercenter is the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. I know for a fact that Brad Young and also Tim Fitch, who is on the roundtable, reached out to Generator Supercenter because they were interested. You should do it yourself. Call today for a free estimate. Financing is available with low monthly payments. 314-499-2020. They do have a retail outlet in Chesterfield. The website, GeneratorSupercenterofStLouis.com.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Missouri can count on.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
This portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly, heating, air conditioning, electrical, and plumbing.
Hey, this is Ellen. 97.1 is celebrating 25 years. Annie Fry, Mark Reardon, Mark Cox. We have amazing talent on the station. And don't forget Ryan Wiggins. What a station.
Celebrating 25 years of 97.1 in St. Louis.
Sue Thomas off today. She will be back tomorrow. I'm taking a couple of days off for Thursday and Friday of this week, and we'll be back on Monday. But just as a programming note, I think Brad Young's going to be here on Thursday. Mike Ehlmann, who was going to run for St. Charles County executive and pulled out today because of what we just spoke with Steve about, he will be here on Friday afternoon. He'll handle the Reardon Roundtable. We might get Kill Me tomorrow. A couple other things I know Fred is working on, and then we'll have a Wednesday edition of Sue's News as well. So I read something in the FP.com, the Free Press today, that every time I think about the situation, I think we forget some of the rules in different states. I mentioned when I was in Wisconsin, it was baffling to me. That's why I call it the People's Republic of Wisconsin, that you had restrictions. And we did used to have these in St. Louis with the blue laws, right, where you couldn't buy alcohol on Sundays or whatever. I was in an airport in one of the Carolinas a few years ago, and I don't drink, but my wife was about to have a beer, but it wasn't quite noon or whatever the rules were. And I live in America where there's freedom, and I hate stuff like that. In Pennsylvania, they basically have state control of the liquor stores. Utterly, I mean, there could not be something more non-American than that. Unless you go to New Jersey where you can't pump your own gas. And Max Raskin is here. He wrote about this in the Free Press today, and it caught my attention because I just think that this is so crazy whenever I cover stories like this. Max, how are you? Welcome to 97.1 FM Talk in St. Louis.
I'm doing great. It's great to be here.
So this is one of those things that here in the Midwest we're reminded of, like when someone like you writes about it or it's in the news, and it just makes our brains hurt that there's a policy. And you'll have to kind of run me through what specifically this allows for and doesn't allow for right now, that you, and I think this also happens in Oregon, if I'm not mistaken, that you're not allowed to pump your own gas, or do you have the ability in New Jersey to do that, but you also have the ability for someone like 40 years ago to come and fill your tank for you?
No. So you can't pump your own gas in New Jersey. You're basically committing a crime if you do that, and the gas station owner is committing a crime. So you're mentioning that every state sort of has its own quirky laws. We call ourselves, it's a 50-50 laboratories of democracy, and sometimes the laboratories get it wrong. And this is like clearly a case where it's just an absurd regulation. You mentioned that Oregon had it, but Oregon got rid of it a couple years ago.
Okay.
And like nothing, I mean, I was going to say this, the state didn't go up in flames, but it did go up in flames, but I guess for different reasons.
Yeah, that's true.
But not because they legalized being able to pump your own gas. But yeah, in New Jersey, we've had this since 1949, and it's just it's a bizarre, weird thing.
Now, one of the things that caught my attention is you said that because you have I believe you have a governor's race out there in New Jersey, right? And both the Republican and the Democrat, think this is still a good idea? That's what you're telling me?
Yeah, it's sort of like one. I mean, there's all these bumper stickers that say like Jersey girls don't pump their own gas. It's like a cultural heritage, and people. I've gotten some pushback in the article. People who are otherwise very rational, very thoughtful economists wrote me and say, "I don't care. I don't care. I don't want to pump my own gas." And I said, "Well, what if you can save a couple? The reporting looks like you could save 20 cents a gallon up to, or 23 cents a gallon by not having someone else pump your own gas." They say, "We don't care. This is just this quirky thing that is a part of our cultural heritage." And, my point is, you should be allowed to have someone else pump your gas, but it shouldn't be mandatory. That doesn't sound right to me.
Professor, it's bizarre. It sounds anti-American. By the way, yeah, I'm fine. And we used to have a couple of stations, I don't think we have them around here, where you could full in, and I'm old enough to remember full service gas stations, or at least partially full service when I was a young kid growing up in Chicago. But whenever I'm reminded of this situation in New Jersey, and then you tell me that people still support it, and maybe I understand a little bit of the cultural stuff, it's just so anti-American. It seems the opposite of freedom.
The one thing I would just push back on a little bit is it's actually not so anti-American when you look at the history of this country. Since about the progressive era, a little bit before, there's nothing more American than special interest groups lobbying the government to get benefits on their behalf.
Well, that's true.
You see it, whether it's the Pure Food and Drug Act and the FDA or the Federal Reserve. We just love to stop competition by and frame it that we're doing something good for society, when in reality you're just entrenching special interests. And that was exactly the case here.
Yeah.
In the 40s, there was this one guy who wanted to sell gas a little bit cheaper, and the gas cartel, they actually shot up his gas station on Route 17 in Hackensack, and he had to install bulletproof glass, but he was like determined to stick it out. And they decided, listen, we can't get him through through violence, so instead we'll do the next best thing. We'll go to Trenton, we'll go to our state capital and pass a law against him. And that's been the situation since 1949, unfortunately.
So are there groups that are involved, or anyone that is trying to make the case that this is insanity and this should go away, or not? Is that just kind of one of those things that we're just going to accept?
There are groups who care about this, but as you could imagine, they're not, this is not this issue doesn't attract the most sane, normal people. It attracts weird professor types and people who want to open up new gas stations. This isn't something that, really affects people's lives in a deep way. And so, it's going to stay around because it's, there's the costs here are really diffuse. But the benefits to the people who, the benefits to the regulated entities are big. And the real reason people write these articles and people bring up these points is that, if we can't change something as silly as this, how are we ever going to be able to tackle the bigger issues in our economy? When you talk about entitlements, when you talk about the pharmaceutical industry, when you talk about big entrenched lobbies in America, if we can't even tackle this small one, how are we going to tackle this one?
I believe that is the specific definition of a rhetorical question, Professor Raskin, because I would agree with you.
Yeah.
And I don't know, did you hear my reference? Because this is always crazy, and I was trying to Google this, and I don't know what the current state of this is. But in Pennsylvania, they have these weird rules when it comes to liquor, if I remember correctly. Like, the state basically runs the sale of alcohol. Now, I think you can get beer at stores and stuff like that, but that's another one of those things where, are you kidding me? What country are we in?
Yeah, I mean, so that I'm going to push back a little bit on. I mean, I don't mean to push back on you. You seem like you're totally right about everything, except for these. Usually
I am. Yes. Thank you for acknowledging that. Yes.
So blue laws basically prevent certain stores from being open on different days of the Sabbath, and I think it was. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think it was 1896. The Supreme Court ruled, and I'm not wrong. I'm almost certain I'm right. That these laws are a sort of definite part of the fabric of America, and each state should be allowed to make the kind of decisions for its populace that they want. And so I might not like that Nevada allows gambling, but Utah doesn't allow it. And so through the kind of process, the market process, you'll have people moving to states and they'll behave better or worse. And so, there's certain things that might not be market, might not be total free market, like Sunday closing laws and things like that. But, we tolerate a little bit of that because we believe that, not everything has to be, a pure libertarian paradise. As long as there's like a right of exit, as long as people are allowed to move to different states and we protect some certain fundamental rights, then certain things that you might not like you might say, Pennsylvania, I don't like that you guys have these Sunday closing laws. So, I'm going to live in Missouri,
Well, first of all, I wouldn't call it Missouri unless I lived in a rural area. There's a little rule against that. But no, I understand your point. And, I think even when I welcomed you into the segment, I said, I declared my love of Missouri because I do appreciate the freedoms that we have compared to in Illinois right across the river or when I lived in Wisconsin or California. So there is appreciation for that. And I do understand your point about, the choices that people make for sure. It's just that, when you're used to things, I look at it like from my days in Wisconsin where you have, and St. Louis was like this for a long time too before we lost Anheuser-Busch, but you got a beer town. You're encouraging people basically to drink, and you couldn't get off of a late shift if you lived in Milwaukee and go to the store and buy alcohol. You could go to a bar and buy it from behind the counter. It was just bizarre. And some of these things, as you kind of pointed out, they go way back in history and just maybe have never been adjusted. And we do evolve. That's why I kind of encourage people to take a more libertarian look at some of these issues from time to time, Professor. But you were a great guest, and you made some awesome points, even though, as you acknowledged, I'm usually right. But thanks for jumping on here in St. Louis with me. I appreciate it.
It was a pleasure.
Awesome. That's Max Raskin, who is an adjunct professor at NYU.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
So things are slow on 270 northbound from Manchester to Olive. Southbound still tight from Page for Doherty Ferry. We've got 170 southbound Olive down to 64. Slow northbound spots from Forest Park Parkway to Olive, but that's getting better. 64 westbound slow spots from Kings Highway over to 270. Then through Chesterfield, pockets out to 70. Eastbound side of 64 is slow from 270 to Big Bend, and southbound 55 slow from Broadway to Bates. This report is sponsored by Aspen Contracting. Don't let cracked or missing siding leave your home vulnerable to St. Louis weather. Aspen Contracting has the crews and project managers ready to protect your home and restore its beauty. Call Aspen today for your free siding inspection at 636-465-1696. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Well, I'm going to guide you into a great project with Michael's Baths here in St. Louis, and they're going to make an offer for you exclusively, 97.1 FM Talk listener, which is they're going to take $500 off your project or a free shower door when you mention my name or 97.1 FM Talk. So maybe you're looking to get rid of the grout and the tiles and replace your, shower with walls that have the looks of natural stone. They have a really great product, American made, by the way, and it's available in more than 20 colors. They have shower bases with non-slip surfaces where you don't have to use the shower stickers that we've had for decades. They have a great team, and Mike and his team have been doing this for a long time, and they'll also tell you that they come in 30 to 50% lower on these bids. So if you're looking for a remodel, if you're looking for an upgrade, maybe you just want to make the bathroom a little bit more safer as you get older, all of the products that they use are backed with a lifetime warranty. As I indicated, American-made products. Mike has 30-plus years of experience in home remodeling. His team has been with him a long time, and all they do is bathrooms. So don't be fooled by the high-pressure tactics from out-of-town companies. Again, they're going to get you a price 30 to 50% less with high-quality work, rave reviews. 636-775-0800, michaelsbaths.com.
25 years of 97.1 in St. Louis.
Hey, it's Markley Van Camp and Robbins. Happy 25th to 97.1 FM Talk.
Telling the truth as the leading conservative voice in St. Louis.
Doing things the right way is a tradition. Here's to 25 more years.
Celebrate the spooky season with Zero Res and get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129. You can take 15% off your air duct and dryer vent cleanings. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of the saving.
Tired of mice? Point Pest Control finds their entry points, eliminates the infestation, and seals them out for good with our exclusion services. Mention Annie to get 10% off on top of any other special. Call 636-798-0023. Visit Point with an E, pointpestcontrol.com.
Accidents can happen in the blink of an eye, especially in a busy city like St. Louis. Whether you're a rideshare driver or passenger, injuries can leave you feeling lost, confused, and unsure of where to turn. At Kaufman Townsley, we understand. We're from here. We live in St. Louis, and we know what it takes to fight for the rights of our neighbors. We're here to help you through the difficult time with the experience and care you deserve. Kaufman Townsley, real people, real results. Call 314-500-5000. That's 314-500-5000.
Sponsored by Progressive. We make the claims process easy so you could get back on the road in no time. It's why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive. See for yourself at progressive.com.
You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I'm still, I guess maybe a lot of times I'm kind of caught off guard by the reaction, but I'm still really amazed and confused by the reaction of the East Wing renovations. Here's Tim Walz making a buffoon out of himself as usual.
They are choosing to prioritize, and when the White House press secretary said the top priority is the ballroom, we could not disagree more. Quit scapegoating people who are hungry and making up stories that are not true.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where a guy like Tim Walz gets to lie and no one keeps a check on him because he's trying to quote Carolyn from the briefing room where she did not say that building the ballroom was a top priority, but she was responding to a question about priorities with renovations. So she's specifically talking about that issue.
In addition to the ballroom and the Rose Garden patio, is the president looking at any other renovations or significant kind of projects here at the White House?
Not to my knowledge, no. But he's a builder at heart, clearly. And so his heart and his mind is always churning about how to improve things here on the White House grounds. But at this moment in time, of course, the ballroom is really the president's main priority.
Yeah, the main priority for the building, for making changes. That's all it was, but they want to make all this other stuff up. Miranda Devine, who's been a guest on the show several times, had a great column about this today, saying that the TDS, the Trump Derangement Syndrome, which is very real, all you have to do is open up Facebook, has morphed into something far more lethal, Trump projection disorder. And she starts by saying, and I don't think there's any disagreement here, the Democrats have lost their minds. This time last year, think about this, the conversation was about what is the acceptable number of apartment complexes in Colorado that we can tolerate being taken over by Venezuelan gangs of illegal migrants. Now the big issue is, that's not a bad point, by the way, the president's big, beautiful ballroom. The No Kings folk are melting down. This is stunning when you look at the numbers here. In just 2 days last week, she wrote, there were 10,000 comments on the Washington Post website railing against the ballroom, which is being built at a cost of zero to the taxpayers. See, I mentioned this too because I saw this stuff on Facebook. And I usually hold my fingers back and I do not type responses, but I couldn't help myself because some of my lefty friends were literally losing their minds. And she points out, someone who called herself Cindy in the Suburbs wrote, I can't wait for the day they hold Trump's funeral in that gaudy ballroom. That's unbelievable, right? But as she points out, if you thought TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome, was bad in the president's first term, you ain't seen nothing yet. This time around, it's morphed into something far more lethal. Like a wounded animal that's been cornered, electorally challenged Democrats are desperate and dangerous. They make TDS look like a quaint affection, and they do. And I don't know what's going to happen in the next 3 years because this isn't going to go away, right? In the spirit of, if you can't beat him, join him, they're trying to imitate Trump, but they're imitating a foul-mouthed cartoon villain version of the Hitlerian dictator that they have convinced themselves he is. TDS Redux, Miranda wrote, has become Trump disorder. Everything they've accused him of being, they've now become, Nazi tattoos and all. And this is great, right? So you got this guy in Maine. I haven't really covered this. They're running a Senate candidate who had a skull and crossbones Nazi death symbol literally tattooed on his chest, right? And Graham Planter is his name, describing himself as an Antifa super soldier, and reportedly recruited and trained members of far-left paramilitary groups. And he's leading by double digits in Maine. So Miranda's point was, look, while Democrats and their media handmaidens try to portray Graham as I'm not a secret Nazi, as plain-spoken, MAGA-coded Maine oyster farmer, he's just the usual sham impersonator. In fact, he's a child of privilege who attended the Hotchkiss School, a boarding prep school in Connecticut where tuition costs more than $75,000 a year. But as Miranda Devine wrote, the party that launched cancel culture is standing by him. This is quite something. It really is something. And I haven't really talked about this issue in Maine because we were talking about everything that happened with Jay Jones in Virginia. But this has been one of those stories that's gotten a little attention nationwide as well. Bernie Sanders says the Nazi tattoo is a distraction. He says, I think what we've got to do as a nation is not focus on a tattoo. Now, Planter's excuse is he didn't know it was a Nazi symbol. We have many people who are now speaking freely to reporters that say, oh, he knew. He knew it a long time ago, and he wore it, proudly. He is currently 34 points ahead of the governor of Maine, Janet Mills, who opened her big mouth. You remember that on the topic of immigration. Donald Trump projected and predicted her political future, which apparently is going to come true because she's behind by 34 points. But then in Virginia, you have Jay Jones running as an attorney general who said he wanted to murder a Republican lawmaker and his small children. So that was okay, and that was defended. No big deal. I don't remember The View having a big discussion about that because he's still on the ticket. He is still on the ticket to be the top cop along with Abigail Spanberger, who won't say a bad word about him, let alone disavow his candidacy. And I don't know Virginia politics particularly well, but I'm shocked and really kind of saddened that Spanberger still has a lead. She's got like a 7-8 point lead over Winsome Sears, the lieutenant governor. And this is what I love. There's two women in this race, right? There's a white woman, Spanberger, and there's a black woman, Winsome Earl Sears, who's awesome. I love her so much. Got to know her when she ran with Glenn Youngkin. She won. She wrote a book. Really, really inspirational, really special. The NAACP is backing the white woman, not the black woman in the race, because she's a Republican. And then we can't forget about New York. New York, most likely to become the mayor, proudly with a radical imam and purported unindicted co-conspirator in the 93 World Trade Center bombing, who has called for jihad in garbage can America ever since. This is Mondami and some of the things that he stands for. So this guy that Miranda is referring to, Mamdani has called him a pillar of the community in his social media post. But the Democrat Socialist has been shedding crocodile tears all week because he caught a little blowback for his embrace of a terror apologist just 24 years after 9/11. So he says Islamophobia is something that is endemic to politics across this country. As we've seen it normalized, we have seen it accepted. So he basically, as Miranda Devine said, he pointed a giant middle finger to all New Yorkers who died on 9/11, but somehow Zohran Mamdani is the victim. And by the way, the only other victim of 9/11 he bothered mentioning in his post was an aunt who he claimed stopped taking the subway after 9/11 because she didn't feel safe in her hijab. And this is the guy that's going to run New York City. Gosh, I can't wait. I will say this, and this is the same case with Cori Bush. It gives me a lot of material. A lot.
Stand by. Playback ready.
Now, the audio cut of the day.
All right, well, I'm going to do baseball related. We still love baseball. Even the Cardinals are not going to be in the postseason for, a decade or so. But this was quite something last night in the 18th inning.
Freeman sends a fly ball to center field. Varsho's going back before the clock strikes midnight. Freddie Freeman has ended it.
Well, closer to 2 a.m. here in the Midwest, but this is my favorite last night. So they're in the locker room. They're asking Mookie Betts a question of the Dodgers.
When you go to bed tonight, put your head on the pillow tonight, what will you think about Shohei? Will you think about Freddie? What jumps out at you?
I'm probably not going to think about another man while I'm in bed.
Fair enough.
That was a little hard to hear. He goes, I try not to think about another man when I'm in bed. I thought that was a great answer. It's Ohtani on the mound tonight. And the Dodgers have taken a lead in this series. So we'll see what happens. We'll talk tomorrow at 3. Sue's going to be back.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
270 southbound, slow going from Olive to Manchester. Southbound side, make that of 170, slow the due down to 64. Westbound 64, slow from Lindbergh to 270, 367 to 70. Eastbound side slows from 270 to Lindbergh, then 170 to Big Bend is still a delay there. And 55 southbound, slow approaching Bates. This report is sponsored by The Diamond Shop, making St. Louis sparkle for over 100 years. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic by 97.1 FM Talk.
Well, we're starting to get some cooler weather. We know that. It's been in the forecast. We had Dave Murray on yesterday. But Banner Construction wants you to think of something when the cold weather moves in. Maybe you need some new windows. They're having the pre-winter window event. You like to plan ahead with a big project. That's why Banner is encouraging you to get on the horn with them right now at 314-569-1050 and talk about some new windows. They have a variety of energy-efficient brands and price points, but they feature beautiful Pella windows. And Banner, of course, is a certified Pella contractor. I think it's incredible that Pella, that company, best windows and doors in the country, has been in business for 100 years. They're celebrating their 100th anniversary. You can celebrate an anniversary like that with Banner by getting some brand new windows installed at your home, or maybe you're looking at James Hardie fiber cement siding because, of course, Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie specialist. They've been at work here in St. Louis since 1993. If you're considering new windows, new doors, or a fresh exterior, there's only one place to turn, and that is Banner Construction, 314-569-1050. Again, the website has everything, a bunch of pictures in the showcase of some homes that have been remodeled, bannerconstruction.com.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's